Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to IDT Fast Track Batch. Correct? What do you mean by Fast Track Batch? Is we'll be trying to covering all the sections, all the provisions of this particular IDT subject in a span of say 65 to 75 hours, and we'll be finishing both GST, customs, and FTP. Correct? So we are starting with the customs first, which is for 20 marks in your examination. And listen, understand me, if you concentrate here, if you visualize here, it is very easy to score 17 or 18 marks out of this 20 marks, right? So these 17, 18 marks should not be wasted. I bet you that if you concentrate here, you are going to score 17 to 18 marks bare minimum. So just concentrate and listen. And whenever you feel disconnected, please make sure that you take a break of not more than 5 minutes. आप 5 मिनट से ज़्यादा का ब्रेक ना लें, और वो 5 मिनट में भी just close your eyes, have a glass of water and remember what we have done till now. Recapitulate whatever we have done till now. Don't waste your time and listen to the recording only when you have full devoted time to hear the recording. Don't listen to the recording in bits and pieces. It's a request from my side, because if you read in bits and pieces, the whole flow will get lost. Right? So let's get started with the chapter number 1, that is levy and exemptions from the customs duty. Correct? So what do you mean by levy and exemptions from the custom duty is what we are going to understand. So before starting any chapter, हम क्या करेंगे, वी विल अंडरस्टैंड कि इस चैप्टर के अंदर हमको क्या क्या कवर करना है. करेक्ट? सो व्हाट ऑल थिंग्स वी नीड टू कवर हियर इज द इंट्रोडक्शन एस्पेक्ट कि कस्टम्स ड्यूटी क्या है. देन वी विल आल्सो सी द वेरियस लॉज. राइट? कौन से लॉ हमको पढ़ने हैं अगर हमको कस्टम्स ड्यूटी के बारे में डिटेल्ड में समझना है. कस्टम ड्यूटी कैसे लगेगा, कब लगेगा, क्या रेट से लगेगा, क्या प्रोसीजर है, क्या प्रोसेसेस हैं, ऑल दोज थिंग्स विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो ये सब चीजें कहाँ दी गई है. फॉर दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट वी विल हैव टू रीड द वेरियस लॉज विच इज देयर, विच इज फॉर्मिंग द पार्ट ऑफ कस्टम्स. Then most important and critical aspect whenever you study any law is the charging section. Right? आप कोई भी एक्ट पढ़ते हैं तो उसका चार्जिंग सेक्शन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ हाउ इंपॉर्टेंट एंड व्हाई इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट द चार्जिंग सेक्शन इज, क्योंकि वो ही बताएगा आपको, दैट चार्जिंग सेक्शन विल एक्सप्लेन यू दैट इफ दैट पर्टिकुलर ट्रांजैक्शन व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, क्या वो चार्जिंग सेक्शन के अंदर फिट हो रहा है. इफ इट इज फिटिंग इन दैट चार्जिंग सेक्शन देन ओनली यू हैव टू गो एंड रीड अहेड. अगर वो चार्जिंग सेक्शन के अंदर हो ही नहीं रहा है, देन फॉरगेट दैट एंड यू मूव अहेड. राइट? सो डोंट वेस्ट योर टाइम. सो व्हेनेवर यू आर रीडिंग एनी एक्ट, understand the charging section in detail, and once you understand the charging section in detail, everything rest is pure common sense, because everything is linked with that charging section only. Clear? So we have to understand the charging section in detail, क्या बोलता है. so whenever we are going to do charging section, हम charging section को एक एक pieces में break करेंगे. Right? And this will be the flow every time what we'll be studying. So we'll be breaking the chapter in various details and we will understand each and every point in detailed format. Then ये चार्जिंग सेक्शन तो हो गया, इस पे कस्टम ड्यूटी तो लगने वाला है. करेक्ट? देन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड कि क्या इस पे कोई बेनिफिट मिल सकता है मुझे, क्या इस पे कोई डिस्काउंट मिल सकता है मुझे अगर मैं गुड्स इंपोर्ट कर रहा हूं या गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा हूं और कुछ मिस हैपनिंग हो गई, तो क्या मुझे ड्यूटी फिर भी पे करनी पड़ेगी. राइट? एक तो पैसा, माल का पैसा गया वो तो गया ही, उसके अलावा क्या ड्यूटी भी मुझे पे करनी पड़ेगी, क्या मुझे ड्यूटी पे मुझे बेनिफिट मिल सकता है, दैट वी विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. देन आफ्टर वी अंडरस्टैंड होल दिस कॉन्सेप्ट एंड बिफोर मूविंग फर्दर, फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट व्हाट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इज द बाउंड्रीज ऑफ इंडिया. इंडिया की बाउंड्री कहां तक है. क्यों? क्योंकि when it crosses the Indian boundary then only import और export will start. करेक्ट? अगर वो इंडियन बाउंड्री के अंदर आएगा तो हम बोलेंगे इंपोर्ट हुआ, अगर वो इंडियन बाउंड्री के बाहर जाएगा तो हम बोलेंगे एक्सपोर्ट हुआ. करेक्ट? सो इंडियन बाउंड्री क्या है, दैट वी विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. once we understand this Indian boundary, what is the India per se, what is it technically meant under the customs law, then we will move on to understand. okay, ठीक है, हमको इंडिया मालूम पड़ गया, यहां तक इंडिया है. इसके बाद अब ये इंपोर्ट क्या होता है और एक्सपोर्ट क्या होता है. राइट? सो वी नो जेनरिकली व्हाट इज इंपोर्ट. एनीथिंग कमिंग इनटू इंडिया इज इंपोर्ट, एनीथिंग गोइंग आउट ऑफ इंडिया इज एक्सपोर्ट. राइट? बट टेक्निकली एज पर लॉ इंपोर्ट क्या है, एक्सपोर्ट क्या है, दैट वी विल अंडरस्टैंड. राइट? देन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट मैंने एक बार एक्सपोर्ट कर दिया, अगर वो गुड्स वापस मेरे पास आए हैं, करेक्ट, दैट मीन्स विल बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग री इंपोर्टेशन ऑफ गुड्स प्रोड्यूस्ड और मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन इंडिया. करेक्ट? तो एक बार हमने कोई गुड्स मैन्युफैक्चर किया और उसको हमने एक्सपोर्ट किया और वो वापस इंडिया में आया फॉर वेरियस रीजंस लाइक रिपेयर के लिए, रेनोवेशन के लिए या अपग्रेडेशन के लिए, देन व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी कंसीडर्ड? क्या वो वापस आया उसको इंपोर्ट कंसीडर करेंगे, वापस हम जो भेज रहे हैं उसको एक्सपोर्ट कंसीडर करेंगे? दिस इज व्हाट विल बी कवरिंग. Then we will move on to understand section 25A and section 25B, which is inserted latestly by the Finance Act 2018 and with effect from 29th of March 2018, right? So this is also in regards to re-importation and re-exportation. So we will be doing section 20 and section 25A and B simultaneously. Then one more topic is there, that is goods derelict, JETSAM or floatsam or REC. दिस ऑल्सो विल अंडरस्टैंड कि ये क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है. अगर मेरा गुड्स मैंने पानी में फेंक दिया, इन जनरल आई एम टेलिंग यू, विल बी गोइंग इन डिटेल. अगर मैंने कोई गुड्स पानी में फेंक दिया तो उस पर कस्टम्स लगेगा या नहीं लगेगा, या वो फ्लोट करके पानी में से पोर्ट पे पहुंच गया तो उस पर कस्टम लगेगा या नहीं लगेगा, या वो सिंक होके नीचे से बेड से वो पानी में पोर्ट पे पहुंच गया तो उस पर कस्टम लगेगा या नहीं लगेगा. करेक्ट. सो दीज आर द एरियाज विच विल बी कवरिंग एज फार एज दिस चैप्टर नंबर 1 इज कंसर्न. Clear everybody? So now I hope the whole flow is ready in your mind कि हम क्या क्या करने वाले हैं. Starting from the introduction, customs क्या है, फिर क्या क्या law उसमें लगने वाले हैं to understand the whole custom duty. Then once we understand this, most and most important aspect is the charging section. Charging section क्या बोलता है? Once we satisfy all the conditions of charging section, then we move forward to check क्या ये import होगा, export होगा या नहीं होगा. Then if you understand this is import or export, how will we understand it is import or export? For that we will have to understand the concept of India, right? India पढ़ना पड़ेगा. India पढ़ेंगे, import export पढ़ेंगे, then we will see कि ये जो import export कर रहे हैं, हो सकता है कोई ट्रांजैक्शन गलत हो जाए. अगर वो ट्रांजैक्शन गलत हो जाएगा तो दैट मीन्स आई एम गोइंग टू सफर अ फाइनेंशियल लॉस बिकॉज ऑफ द ट्रांजैक्शन. प्लस विल आई हैव टू बेयर द बर्डन ऑफ कस्टम्स ऑल्सो, या क्या सिचुएशंस हैं जहां मुझे बेनिफिट मिल सकता है. दैट विल बी स्टडिंग व्हेन इट कम्स टू रेमिशन, अबेटमेंट एंड एग्जम्पशन फ्रॉम ड्यूटी. क्लियर एवरीबडी? सो अगर आपके पास कोई क्लाइंट आता है एंड इफ ही सेज कि सर मुझे ये चीज गुड्स इंपोर्ट करनी है, आप तो सीए हैं, आप तो क्वालिफाइड चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, आप समझाइए मुझे क्या क्या चीजें हो सकती है इसके अंदर. सो थिंक फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव, बी ओपन माइंडेड, evaluate all the situations which can happen and keep your common sense ready with you, because common sense is something which is uncommon. Correct? So मेरा एक ही मानना है कि common sense से utilize कीजिए, which is very uncommon. If you have that common sense, take the benefit or take the advantage of common sense and start understanding the concepts of the subject. Clear everybody? हमने ये समझा कि कोई क्लाइंट आया, वो बोलता है सर मुझे इंपोर्ट करना है, एक्सपोर्ट करना है, तो आप बोलोगे ठीक है भैया इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट क्या करना है, पहले वो हम देख लेते हैं कि ये चार्जिंग सेक्शन में है कि नहीं, कस्टम्स लगेगा या नहीं लगेगा. देन ही विल कम विद लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चन, सर अगर ये इंपोर्ट करते करते पानी में गिर गया, या एक्सपोर्ट करते करते पानी में गिर गया, या फिर ये गुड्स इंपोर्ट तो हो गए बट मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी पे करने का, जो गुड्स आए वो गलत गुड्स आ गए, जो गुड्स आए वो डैमेज्ड गुड्स आ गए, राइट? तो दीज ऑल क्वेश्चंस विल फॉर्म पार्ट ऑफ योर कंसल्टेशन व्हेन यू स्टार्ट कंसल्टिंग ऑन दिस कस्टम्स लॉ. करेक्ट? देन वी विल से कि सर ठीक है चलो आज तो मैंने एक्सपोर्ट कर दिया या आज मैंने कुछ चीज़ इंपोर्ट कर ली बट वो चीज़ खराब हो गई, तो मुझे या उसको वापस भेजना पड़ेगा या मंगाना पड़ेगा, तो उस पर भी कस्टम ड्यूटी लगेगा क्या सर? राइट? तो दीज आर द एरियाज विच आर गोइंग टू कवर. वेरी सिंपल, लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड नाउ. राइट? सो व्हाट इज एन इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ कस्टम्स? ये कस्टम्स आया कहाँ से? कस्टम्स कहाँ से आया? कस्टम्स का मतलब क्या है पहले तो समझते हैं. कस्टम्स का मतलब क्या है? कोई भी हैबिट हो गया आपका, राइट? सो कस्टम इज नथिंग बट अ बिहेवियर. इट इज योर बिहेवियर, राइट? सो इन द प्रीवियस regimes or during the kingdoms when rajas were there, when kings were there, right? So क्या होता था कि one kingdom, kingdom A के जो लोग थे, they used to come to kingdom B, right, to sell their goods. Why? Because everybody wanted the new market to be explored, right? Now this king of kingdom B, will he allow the people of kingdom A to come and sell the goods? Why will he allow, right? So for allowing that purpose, these people were smart enough, kingdom A people were smart enough. What they did, they started gifting gifts to the king of kingdom B. So kingdom B king started realizing that okay, no problem, I am getting the gift, so I'll allow people to come and do the business in my kingdom. Correct? So this became a tradition, this became a custom. So anybody who wanted to sell their goods from kingdom A to kingdom B, they started giving gifts to the king. That became a custom. That became a custom. अब जब ये custom बन गया, अब तो king की प्रथाएं तो खत्म हो गई, kings are no more there, right? So that system or that tradition continued and the government thought on those lines and globally, and they created this customs law, right? So it's a globally recognized law कि कहीं पे भी customs तो लगेगा, तो basic logics are similar. So basically indirect taxes, whenever we talk about, I always say indirect taxes is an international tax and you have a multiple scope as far as indirect tax is concerned. So my request to you guys again and again is that understand the concept conceptually and use your common sense. अगर आपने common sense use कर लिया, अगर आपकी बत्ती जल गई तो enough, आप king हो गए इसके अंदर, right? You will be master in IDT. Mark my words, अगर आपकी बत्ती जलती है ना तो आप मास्टर हो इन द indirect taxes. Correct everybody? So now let us go and understand कि introduction में हमने जो डिस्कस किया वो क्या था. दिस इंट्रोडक्शन, नाउ जब किंगडम से तो आ गया, करेक्ट. अभी किंगडम से आने के बाद क्या हुआ, दिस किंगडम हैज किंगडम से इट केम इनटू द गवर्नमेंट, राइट. सो इट इज लेवीड अंडर आर्टिकल नंबर 246 ऑफ द constitution, right, in which this list number 1, that is a union list, in that it is an entry number 83. So when we talk about this union list, it means what? So there are basically three lists. We have seen that, we know that there are three lists here, right? So one is list number 1, list number 2 and list number 3, correct. So when we talk about list number 1, 2 and 3, list number 1 is basically those acts or those transactions under which the parliament can tax the public, correct. So basically it is given under list number 1 and it is a union list. When it means a union list is basically a central levy, that means all the taxation will be done will be formulated by the parliament, right. So it is a central kind of a taxation and it is given under the entry number 83 of union list, correct everybody, right here. So till here everything is clear. कहाँ से शुरू हुआ, विद दिस बैकग्राउंड वी मूव ऑन टू अंडरस्टैंड देन मोर इन डिटेल, राइट. सो हमको ये पता चल गया मुझे गिफ्ट तो देना है अभी. नाउ अब ये गिफ्ट को फॉर्मुलेट कैसे किया जाए, राइट. प्रीवियसली दे वर किंग, सो दे हैड देयर ओन फॉर्मूलाज, राइट. बट नाउ एज द वर्ल्ड वाज ग्रोइंग, people wanted to have something in black and white in writing, right. So there came various laws for which we have to understand, right. हमको ये तो पता है कि हमको कस्टम ड्यूटी का पेमेंट करना है. नाउ इफ यू हैव टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ कस्टम ड्यूटी, ऐसा तो नहीं कोई बोलेगा इतना कस्टम ड्यूटी भर दो मैं भर दूंगा, राइट. सो आई नीड टू नो कि मुझे क्या पढ़ना है इसके अंदर, सो दैट I am very clear that these are the various laws which I have to read as far as this customs is concerned, correct. So now the Customs Act, what is the Customs Act? It means that it is covering what? The first law which you have to read is the Customs Act. What does it cover? This Customs Act is covering, what is it covering? The entire laws on import and export. जो भी import export का transaction होगा उसका जो entire coverage है law का, उसमें क्या करना है नहीं करना है, क्या restricted है क्या allowed है, everything will be given under the Customs Act, correct. So this is the Bible when we talk about the customs. So you will have to read the Customs Act, which is covering the entire law on imports and export. Then you have Customs Tariff Act. आपको ये तो मालूम पड़ेगा कि ये transaction what you are trying to suppose we have known that this is particularly a transaction which you are going to do and you are going to import certain goods from Spain, करेक्ट. आपने कोई गुड्स स्पेन से इंपोर्ट किया, दैट मीन्स इट इज कमिंग टू द इंडियन कॉन्टिनेंट, इंडियन टेरिटरी, राइट. ये इंडियन टेरिटरी में आ रहा है. अब मुझे ये पता चल गया कि दिस इज एन इंपोर्ट ट्रांजैक्शन, करेक्ट. अब ये इंपोर्ट जब हो गया है, बाहर से जब इंडिया आ गया है, तो मुझे ये पता है कि इस पर मेरे को कस्टम ड्यूटी एप्लीकेबल है. नाउ दिस कस्टम ड्यूटी, ये जो एप्लीकेबल है, ये गुड्स का क्या वैल्यू लूंगा मैं और उसका रेट क्या होगा, राइट. सो कस्टम्स ड्यूटी इज नथिंग बट इज इक्वल्स टू व्हाट, द वैल्यू ऑफ द गुड्स इनटू the rate of duty. Now this value of the goods is given in section number 14, right. तो ये हमको स्पेसिफिकली सेक्शन नंबर 14 में बता दिया जाएगा कि ये जो गुड्स आप इंपोर्ट कर रहे हो या एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हो उसका वैल्यूएशन आपको कैसे निकालना है. दिस विल बी डूइंग वंस विल बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग द वैल्यूएशन चैप्टर. नाउ सो बेसिकली आपको एक वैल्यू मिलेगा और उसको आपको रेट से मल्टीप्लाई करना है. दिस रेट इज नथिंग बट अ टैरिफ. हम क्या कभी भी होटल में जाते हैं, हम क्या बोलते हैं, सर आपका टैरिफ कार्ड दीजिए, आई वांट टू बुक 10 रूम्स फॉर द 4 nights और 3 nights whatever it is, तो आप बोलते हैं उसका टैरिफ कार्ड मांगते हैं. टैरिफ कार्ड का मतलब क्या होता है, रेट कार्ड, राइट. सो कस्टम में अभी आपका एक टैरिफ कार्ड है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज कस्टम्स टैरिफ एक्ट, राइट. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज कस्टम्स टैरिफ एक्ट. नाउ व्हाट डज दिस कस्टम टैरिफ एक्ट हैज, इट हैज 2 components, राइट. द कस्टम टैरिफ एक्ट provides rates of custom duty, right? Custom duty का rates provide करेगा. That is first schedule is for import duty rates, right? जो भी आप import करने वाले इंडिया के अंदर, अगर आपको वो देखना है कि उसमें कितना custom duty है, then you have to refer the first schedule of the customs tariff act, right? अगर आप export कर रहे हैं, then you have to see second schedule of the export duty. Clear to everybody? I hope this is clear to everybody, right? So अगर जब आप पहला शेड्यूल देखोगे तो आपको ये मालूम पड़ेगा कि इसके अंदर कस्टम ड्यूटी क्या है और कस्टम ड्यूटी कितनी लगने वाली है, राइट? सेकंड शेड्यूल इट विल हेल्प यू बेसिकली आइडेंटिफाई द एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर रेट, राइट? नाउ द सेकंड क्वेश्चन व्हाट कम्स हियर इज दैट अगर मैं जब गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा हूं तो वो जो ट्रांजैक्शन है वो मेरा सेकंड शेड्यूल में मेंशन ही नहीं है. दैट मीन्स अगर वो सेकंड शेड्यूल में मेंशन ही नहीं है, दैट मीन्स देयर इज नो कस्टम ड्यूटी ऑन द एक्सपोर्ट एंड दैट ट्रांजैक्शन. तो जो भी उस शेड्यूल के अंदर लिखा गया है उस पर आपको कस्टम्स पे करना है, अदरवाइज आपको कस्टम्स का पेमेंट नहीं करना है. क्लियर एवरीबडी? सो नाउ टिल नाउ व्हाट वी हैव अंडरस्टूड इज द कस्टम्स एक्ट एंड द कस्टम्स टैरिफ एक्ट. हमको ये पता है कि हम क्रिकेट खेलते हैं तो हमको ये पता है क्रिकेट के अंदर कि एक बैटिंग होगा, बॉलिंग होगा. अब हर बैटिंग और बॉलिंग का स्कोर कार्ड कैसे रखना है, क्या रूल्स हैं, क्या रेगुलेशंस हैं. अब एक ओवर में 6 बॉल होंगी या 8 बॉल होंगी, एक स्पिनर कितनी ओवर डाल सकता है, एक फास्ट बॉलर कितने ओवर डाल सकता है, 15 ओवर्स के पहले कितने फील्डर्स अंदर रहेंगे, कितने फील्डर्स बाहर रहेंगे, राइट? हमको ये पता है, गेम तो खेलना है हमको. अब वो गेम खेलने के लिए जो प्रोसीजर्स हैं दैट इज गिवन अंडर द रूल्स, राइट? सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट रूल्स अंडर एनी इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस, द प्रोसीजर्स, राइट? तो ये जो प्रोसीजर बना गया है दैट इज गिवन अंडर द रूल्स, राइट? तो दिस प्रोसीजर्स आर फॉर व्हाट? जो हमारा जो क्रिकेट खेलने का, हमको जो क्रिकेट खेलना है उसके लिए रूल्स बना है, करेक्ट? सिमिलरली व्हेन वी हैव रूल्स अंडर कस्टम्स, it is for what purpose, right? It is for what purpose? Tell me. So these rules are issued by central government. Why central government? Because we have already seen that this custom is also levied by the central government, correct? So rules भी कौन बनाएगा? Central government बनाएगा to carry out the purposes of the act, right? मेरा जो भी कस्टम्स एक्ट का पर्पस है कि ये इंपोर्ट होना चाहिए, एक्सपोर्ट होना चाहिए, ऐसे होना चाहिए, ये फॉलो होना चाहिए, नहीं फॉलो होना चाहिए, दिस इज अलाउड, दिस इज नॉट अलाउड, तो वो कैसे आइडेंटिफाई किया जाएगा या उसको कैसे हम प्रोसीजर में लाएंगे, राइट? इट इज मोर ऑफ एन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एस्पेक्ट कि हम प्रोसीजर में कैसे लाएंगे. सो रूल्स आर इश्यूड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट टू कैरी आउट द पर्पसेस ऑफ द एक्ट, राइट? सो सिमिलरली हमने रूल्स भी बना लिए. अब जब रूल्स भी बना लिया, हमको ये मालूम पड़ गया कि ये ओवर के अंदर 6 बॉल ही होनी है, राइट? बट क्या उसमें ओवर स्टेपिंग हुई है कि नहीं है, तो उसको रेगुलेट कौन करेगा? वी हैव एम्पायर्स फॉर दैट, करेक्ट? सो इन ऑर्डर टू fulfill the purposes of the act as well as the rules, we have something called as regulations. So these regulations are issued by whom? CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, right? तो पहला जो था कस्टम्स एक्ट और रूल, वो किसने बनाया? सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने बनाया. अब हर एक काम तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट नहीं कर सकता है, सो दे विल अपॉइंट पीपल अंडर देम, राइट? सो हाउ वी हैव अंपायर्स हियर इन द क्रिकेट ग्राउंड. Similarly, there are certain regulations which are issued by Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, and the purpose is to carry out the purposes of the act as well as the rules which is mentioned under the by the central government. Clear everybody? तो 4 चीजें हमको पढ़नी है. Let's quickly recap. हमको क्या क्या पढ़ना है इसके अंदर. First thing what we need to understand is the Customs Act. Customs Act क्या है, right? So this Custom Act is covering the entire law of import and export, right? ये नहीं समझेंगे तो हमको ये पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि Customs Act क्या होने वाला है, right? Then ये हमको ये मालूम पड़ेगा कि कस्टम्स में ये इस पे कस्टम ड्यूटी पे करना है, right? अब ये दैट इज चार्जिंग सेक्शन का हमारा जो कंडीशन है, मैक्स बेसिकली वी हैव सैटिस्फाइड दिस चार्जिंग सेक्शन, राइट? नाउ अब ये तो मेरे को मालूम पड़ गया कि मुझे इस पे कस्टम ड्यूटी पे करना है. अब कितना पे करना है? दिस इज गिवन अंडर द टैरिफ एक्ट. Rate card, right? So when you have read the rate card, it has 2 components. One is the first schedule which talks about the import duty rates, right? First schedule talks about the import duty rates, and the second schedule it speaks about the export duty rates. I hope this is clear to everybody. First schedule import duty rates, second schedule export duty rates, right? Clear? Now third thing, अब ये एक्ट भी बन गया है, ये हमको ये टैरिफ भी मालूम पड़ गया, बट उसको एक्ट को लागू करना पड़ेगा. देयर प्रोसीजर्स व्हिच नीड्स टू बी फॉलोड, राइट? सो रूल्स आर फ्रेम्ड, रूल्स आर इश्यूड बाय whom? सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. व्हाई सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट? बिकॉज द एक्ट इज आल्सो गिवन बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एज पर द यूनियन लिस्ट नंबर 1. Clear everybody? So these rules are also issued by central government. रूल भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लगाएगी. And for what purpose? To carry out the purpose of the act act itself, जो act में लिखा गया है, तो these rules cannot contradict the act per se, right? Rules क्या बोलेगा? एक rules is basically something which is giving more clarity as far as the act is concerned, right? So these rules are nothing but these rules are issued by the central government to carry out purpose of the act. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now, अब ये जो अंपायर खड़े होते हैं, हमने ये बोल दिया कि ये ओवर में 6 बॉल्स होंगी, राइट? अब हाउ टू काउंट दैट 6 बॉल्स, राइट? सो फॉर दैट पर्पस देयर आर सर्टेन रेगुलेशंस, राइट? अंपायर हैव टू फॉलो सर्टेन रेगुलेशंस. So these regulations are issued by the CBIC. The rules are issued by central government and regulations are issued by CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Custom, to carry out purposes of the act. इसमें दो चीजें एक्ट पर्पस होगा, एक्ट का भी फुलफिल करना है पर्पस, एज वेल एज रूल्स का भी पर्पस फुलफिल करना है. आई होप इट्स क्लियर टू एवरीबडी. सो नाउ फर्स्ट वी अंडरस्टूड द इंट्रोडक्शन. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लेवी करेगा अंडर एंट्री नंबर 83. देन वी रेड अबाउट द वेरियस लॉज व्हिच वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एज फार एज दिस कस्टम इज कंसर्न. नाउ वी विल गो इन डिटेल अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कस्टम्स लॉ. अभी तक तो जो हम कर रहे थे बेसिक था, वी आर लेड द फाउंडेशन कि ये क्या है नहीं है. नाउ वी विल मूव ऑन टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये कस्टम्स चीज क्या है, राइट? सो नाउ वी विल मूव ऑन टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये कस्टम्स चीज क्या है. So before moving to that, let us see section number 12 of the Customs Act, which talks about the charging section. So what does this charging section says? Custom duty is levied on. Custom duty मेरे सर पे आएगा, custom duty मुझे भरना है. Is levied on what? Is levied on what? Is levied on goods, right? Imported into or exported from India. Imported into or exported from India. Imported into or exported from India. So custom duty के लिए 3 बेसिक पैरामीटर्स हैं. एक तो custom duty लगेगा, कब किस पे लगेगा? गुड्स पे लगेगा. क्या होगा? गुड्स या तो इंपोर्ट होगा या गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट होगा. क्लियर एवरीबडी? तो चार्जिंग सेक्शन विल गो इन डिटेल ऑफ दिस चार्जिंग सेक्शन एंड ब्रेक डाउन एनालिसिस करेंगे हम इसका अभी. तो बेसिक थॉट प्रोसेस ये है, कस्टम ड्यूटी लगने वाला है, किस पे लगने वाला है? गुड्स पे लगने वाला है. गुड्स का क्या होना चाहिए? गुड्स का क्या मूवमेंट होना चाहिए? गुड्स शैल आइदर बी इंपोर्टेड इनटू इंडिया और गुड्स शैल आइदर बी एक्सपोर्टेड फ्रॉम इंडिया. क्लियर एवरीबडी? सो नाउ लेट अस सी more in detail about this charging section so that you guys get a more clarity on this particular concept. So section 12 is the charging section. Section 12 is the charging section. Section 12 is the charging section, right? So now it says that section 12 subsection 1, very startingly it says that except as otherwise provided in this act, right? Except as otherwise provided in this act or any other law for the time being in force. That means it start with some negative. That means ये हम तभी फॉलो करेंगे जब कहीं और पे कुछ nothing is mentioned कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी जो यहाँ पे मेंशन किया करने जा रहे हैं या फिर हम जो यहाँ पे पढ़ने जा रहे हैं, राइट? सो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट चार्जिंग सेक्शन इट स्टार्ट्स विद द नेगेटिव. दैट मींस एक्सेप्ट एज अदरवाइज प्रोवाइडेड इन दिस एक्ट. ये सेक्शन के अलावा अगर कहीं और कुछ और मेंशन किया गया है देन वी हैव टू फॉलो दैट or any other law for the time being in force. Clear everybody? This is what we'll have to understand. So now we will see this this particular charging section which states or which starts with an exception, right? That means ये तो पढ़ना ही है, अगर इसके अलावा कहीं और कुछ लिखा गया है then that will prevail first and then this charging section will prevail. That means there are certain conditions which we need to understand before entering into a charging section detail per se. Clear everybody? So now let us understand more in detail what does this charging section itself speaks, right? So it states what? Duties of customs shall be levied. We know this, right? Charging section का काम ही क्या है कि ड्यूटी कब लगेगा ये बताने वाला है. तो duties of customs shall be levied at such rates as may be specified in Customs Tariff Act. This also we know, or at any other law for the time being in force, right? On what? On goods imported into or exported from India. So important point we wanted to highlight here was that except as otherwise provided in this act. That means यहाँ पे एक exception है. That means the certain conditions which are applicable, right? So what are those conditions that we will have to understand. Secondly, we also want to understand here is it is levied on goods. अब ये goods का definition is different from the definition of goods in the GST law. So for that we will have to understand the concept of goods also here, correct? So duties of customs shall be levied at what rate? At the rate specified in Customs Tariff Act, that we know. and on goods imported into or exported from India. Clear everybody? Now we move on to understand steps to charging custom duty. ये हमने basically framework समझ लिया कि charging section क्या है. Now we understand this charging section in detail. We'll break down the analysis कि charging section क्या हमको समझाया है इसने अभी तक. So let us understand the steps. So duties of customs shall be levied on goods. Now these goods are given where? Duties of customs shall be levied on goods. We know that it is levied on goods. Now this goods is given under section 2 subsection 22. करेक्ट. सो हमको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि ये गुड्स किसको बोलते हैं एज पर सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 22. हाउएवर दिस लेवी इज सब्जेक्ट टू अदर सेक्शंस. नाउ फ्रॉम वेयर डिड वी गॉट दिस एनालिसिस? From this particular point which starts within this the charging section, except as otherwise provided in this act, right? So this states that there are certain subject to certain other sections which also we have to read along with reading this particular section number 2, right? So however this levy, that means this customs levy, what we are trying to understand, is subject to, is conditional, right? Is conditional to other sections also. So what are those conditional sections? That also we will have to evaluate now. So in summarizing all these aspects, right, is what going to understand is the charging sections first component कि इस पे ये levy होगा या नहीं होगा. Now on goods is also we have understood. Now imported into or exported from. So what is the taxable event here? It is import of goods into India or export of goods from India. Now this being a taxable event, we will have to understand कि ये taxable event trigger कब होगा. Correct? The triggering of the taxable event is important. ये कब चालू होगा is also important to understand. So that point we will understand once we will understand the concept of import and we will understand the concept of export. I hope this is clear to everybody. See, we are trying to break down doing an analysis of the charging section. अगर ये charging section समझ में आ गया ना, then you know it's a common sense which you have to apply as far as customs is concerned. In fact, for any other law, you have to break down the charging section till the minutest detail possible, and then everything is clear cut to you. Why the sections have been built, why this has not been built, सब कुछ charging section से related है. It is a summary of the whole law. Correct? So now we have understood that duties of custom is levied on goods. Goods कहाँ पे दिया हुआ है? Section 2 of section 2 subsection 22 of the Customs Act. Then this levy is subject to certain other conditions. That conditions we'll be seeing. And the taxable event क्या है? Import of goods into India or export of goods from India. I hope this is clear to everybody till here. Now duties of custom duty shall be levied at a rate. ये rate भी हमको पता है as per Custom Tariff Act. Nothing to worry on that. इसके अंदर हमको पता है कि there are two schedules, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. Schedule 1 is basically rate of duty for import and Schedule 2 is basically rate of duty for export, right? So import करेंगे तो हमको Schedule 1 देखना है, export करेंगे तो हमको Schedule 2 देखना है. Very simple. Now अब ये जो rate लगेगा ये किस पे लगने वाला है? Some value shall be defined. So this value is given as per the section number 14 of the Customs Act. Clear everybody? So we have done the break-in analysis of this. Now still there are two things more to be broken here is the goods क्या है और import किसको बोलते हैं और export किसको बोलते हैं. Correct? So now we will break down this. Also we have to break down the subject to other sections. तो ये तीन चीजें हमको भी break करनी है. One is the goods. We need to understand the concept of goods. We need to understand the concept what are the other conditions or other sections which can come into play while we are evaluating the charging section. And thirdly, we also have to understand the concept of import into कि ये शुरू कब होगा खत्म कब होगा. सिमिलरली कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट, ये शुरू कब होगा खत्म कब होगा, स्टार्ट कब होगा और एंड कब होगा. दैट मीन्स इसका लेवी कब लगने वाला है, दैट मीन्स इस पे टैक्स जो है कब लगने वाला है. करेक्ट? सो दिस इज ऑल वी हैव टू स्टिल ब्रेक डाउन टू अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक्स ऑफ दिस कस्टम्स लॉ. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टिल हियर एवरीबॉडी. नाउ let us first break down the first component that is called as goods, right? तो हम पहले ही समझेंगे कि goods का breakdown क्या है, right? So first we'll break down this goods and then we will go to understand this particular more in detail about the taxable event as well as the sections which are conditional to this particular levy. Correct everybody? So let us understand this in detail. Now Now we're talking about the goods. Now what are these goods is what we have to understand, right? So these goods are given under section 2 subsection 22 of the Customs Act. Now this is an inclusive definition, that means एक लिस्ट दिया है, उसको इंक्लूड किया गया है, उसके अलावा भी कुछ चीज़ें हो सकती है जो इसके अंदर इंक्लूड होएगी. एंड देयर इज वन केस लॉ विच वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, दैट इज ऑफ जलियन उद्योग बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट, विच विल गिव अ सर्टेन मोर क्लैरिटी एज फार एज गुड्स का कॉन्सेप्चुअल लेवल इज देयर. दिस इज अ लैंडमार्क जजमेंट विच यू हैव टू रिमेंबर एज फार एज गुड्स इज कंसर्न. राइट, व्हाई इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट? बिकॉज एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि या क्या ये गुड्स है या नहीं है. दैट कैन बी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन सर्टेन केस लॉज. सो फॉर दैट रीजन यू नीड टू इवन understand this case law per se also. Clear everybody? So now let us go in detail and understand the concept of goods, कि goods के अंदर include क्या करना है, goods के अंदर exclude क्या करना है. So what does this goods include? Goods includes simply vessels, aircraft and vehicles. Now what is a vessel, what is an aircraft and what is a vehicle? We all know vessels are nothing but the ships जिसके अंदर आपका माल import होके आ रहा है या फिर आपका माल export हो रहा है. बेसिकली इट्स अ शिप, राइट? तो हम vessel को भी हम goods बोलेंगे, aircraft जो आ रहा है उसको भी हम goods बोलेंगे, and vehicles जिसपे हम कार है, ट्रक है, those are also classified as goods. राइट, सो गुड्स के अंदर क्या क्या आ गया? वेसल्स, एयरक्राफ्ट एंड व्हीकल्स, दीज आर ऑल्सो क्लासिफाइड एज गुड्स. देन स्टोर्स. अब जब मैं ये वेसल्स लेके आ रहा हूँ या एयरक्राफ्ट लेके आ रहा हूँ, सो देर आर सर्टेन स्टोर्स, दैट मीन्स देयर सर्टेन मटेरियल विच आई कीप इनसाइड दिस वेसल्स और एयरक्राफ्ट. मुझे पेट्रोल चाहिए, जो पैसेंजर है उनके लिए खाना चाहिए, जो ड्राइवर है उसके लिए खाना चाहिए. सो आई एम ट्राइंग टू हैव certain things boarded on these vessels or aircraft or vehicles. They will also be included in the definition of goods. Then you have baggages, right? So आदमी जो travel कर रहा है उसका baggage भी होगा. So these baggages are also forming part of your goods. The baggages will be dealing in detail once we'll be understanding the chapter of baggages, right? So baggages are generally of two types. One is an accompanied baggage and one is an unaccompanied baggage. Baggage is nothing जो हम बाहर से travel करते हैं, जो हमारा luggage होता है, that is called as baggage, right? So we will understand baggage also in detail. So now what we're trying to understand is the concept of goods. Goods के अंदर पहला चीज क्या है? जो मोड है जिसमें हमारा गुड्स एक्चुअल ट्रैवल हो रहा है. वेसल्स हैं, उस पर गुड्स लोड होके आता है. एयरक्राफ्ट है, उस पर भी गुड्स लोड होके आता है. व्हीकल्स है, उसमें भी गुड्स लोड होके आता है. सो दोज वेसल्स, एयरक्राफ्ट एंड व्हीकल्स are also called as goods, right? Similarly you have stores. आप वो vessels के अंदर या aircraft के अंदर या vehicle के अंदर कुछ आप चीजें लोड करके लेके आते हो, so that you do not have any problem during the journey. So those stores are also classified as goods. Then you have the concept of baggages. That means the luggage is called as baggages. Then currency and negotiable instruments are also been included in the definition of goods, so that while you are coming into India, while that means you are importing something and you are coming into India, you declare that negotiable currencies also. Or while you're going out of India, you declare the currency which you are taking away, right? So these are the things which is included. And any other kind of movable property is also included in the definition of goods, right? So what are those any other kind of movable property? Let us understand this. So any kind of movable property can be TV, iPad, intangibles put on media. What do you mean by intangible puts on media? That means मेरे जो media है, what is my media? TV is my media, iPad is my media, mobile phone is my media, right? So उसके अंदर अगर कुछ data है, that intangibles are also classified as the goods. So there is specific case law of Associated Cements Company Limited. Supreme Court held that drawing designs, जो भी उसके अंदर डिजाइन अगर मैंने कोई इंपोर्ट किया, राइट? आई हैव बीन टू से सपोज आई हैव बीन टू सिंगापुर एंड देयर द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज वेरी ब्यूटीफुल एंड आई एम अ डेवलपर हियर. सो व्हाट आई से, आई मीट सर्टेन आर्किटेक्ट्स देयर एंड आई टेल देम कि बॉस शुड दिस इज माय लेआउट, यू प्लीज डिजाइन सम डिजाइंस फॉर मी फॉर अ बिल्डिंग. अगर मैं वो बिल्डिंग का जो डिजाइंस है उसने मुझे आईपैड पे दे दिया एंड फॉर दैट आई हैव मेड द पेमेंट. सो दोज डिजाइंस, दोज इंटेंजिबल्स व्हिच आर पुट ऑन टू मीडिया will also form part of the goods, right? Any manuals which they have made, any technical materials which they have given to me are goods liable to customs duty. I hope this is clear to everybody, right? So यहाँ पे अभी तक ये चीजें clear हो गई है that what are goods? Goods includes vessels. No, goods includes vessels. Goods includes what? Goods includes vessels जिसके अंदर आपका माल लोड होके आ रहा है. Goods also includes aircraft. That means by air when we talk about vessel, it is by sea, and it also includes vehicles, that is by the land, that is truck and everything, right? So goods को, ये जो conveyance है उसको भी हम goods बोलते हैं, right? Now ये conveyance के अंदर जब हम travel कर रहे हैं, so 5 days, 15 days, 25 days, 30 days, तो हमको कुछ खाने पीने का सामान चाहिए, कोई रिपेयर का सामान चाहिए, right? So all those things which are loaded onto this particular conveyance, vessels, aircraft or vehicles, those are also classified as, that are called as stores, and these stores are also being included in the definition of goods. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now जब आप इतने दिन के लिए ट्रैवल करोगे, आपके पास कुछ बैगेजेस भी होंगे, राइट? या फिर आप बैगेज ही आप एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट कर रहे हो, राइट? तो दीज बैगेजेस कैन बी टू काइंड ऑफ बैगेजेस. वन इज अनअकम्पनीड बैगेज, दैट मीन्स उसका जो मालिक है वो आपके साथ ट्रैवल नहीं कर रहा है, और देयर कैन बी अकम्पनीड बैगेज, दैट मीन्स उसका जो मालिक है ही इज ट्रैवलिंग विथ यू. Correct? So there are two type of baggages. We'll go in detail in understanding the baggages once we do the baggage chapter. Then you have currency and negotiable instrument also is declared into the definition of goods, is included in the definition of goods, so that while you're coming or going out from India, you declare that currency also. So the government has a check कितना forex बाहर आ रहा है, जा रहा है. One more important aspect is any other kind of movable property. Now movable property का मतलब क्या है? टीवी मेरा मूवेबल है, आईपैड मेरा मूवेबल है, लैपटॉप मेरा मूवेबल है, मैं बैंकॉक से यहाँ पे लेके आया, सिंगापुर से यहाँ पे लेके आया, राइट? अब ये जो लैपटॉप के अंदर जो मैंने इंटेंजिबल्स डाले हैं, राइट? इंटेंजिबल्स पुट ऑन द मीडिया. व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट मीडिया मीन्स एनी आईपैड, एनी laptop, right? So any intangibles which are put on the media is also included, one second, is also included in the definition of goods, right? So any intangibles, that is media, put onto the media is also included in the definition of your goods per se. Clear everybody? So there is a specific case law of this particular situation that is given under the Associated Cement Companies Limited. Supreme Court held that drawings, Supreme Court held what? That the drawings or the designs, right? मैंने कोई drawings मंगाया, कोई designs मंगाया, कोई manuals मंगाया, कोई technical material मंगाया, और goods are also liable to customs duty. These are all called as goods. These intangibles, when they put into the media, they will be classified under the definition of goods and the liable to customs duty. Now there is one more case law which we need to understand as far as this concept of vessels are concerned. ये जो vessels हैं, ये जो ship हैं, ये तो हर बार आएंगे इंडिया के अंदर, हर बार इंडिया से बाहर जाएंगे, तो क्या इससे मुझे import लगेगा? वेसल्स की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, क्या इस पर मैं एक्सपोर्ट लगेगा? आई एम टॉकिंग स्पेसिफिकली अबाउट द वेसल्स, और आई एम टॉकिंग स्पेसिफिकली अबाउट द एयरक्राफ्ट, और आई एम टॉकिंग स्पेसिफिकली अबाउट द व्हीकल्स. उसके साथ जो आ रहा है उसकी बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं, बट जो वेसल खुद है, जो एयरक्राफ्ट खुद है, जो व्हीकल खुद है, जो रोज लैंड हो रहा है, रोज जा रहा है, क्या उस पर भी इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट लगेगा? बिकॉज वो खुद एक डेफिनेशन ऑफ गुड्स है, राइट? हमने डेफिनेशन पढ़ा था, कस्टम ड्यूटीज लेविड ऑन गुड्स. तो ये खुद ही जब गुड्स हैं, जो गुड्स आ रहे हैं, जा रहे हैं, इंपोर्ट इनटू और एक्सपोर्ट आउट ऑफ इंडिया, तो क्या ये वेसल्स के वैल्यू पे भी हर बार इंपोर्ट पे करना पड़ेगा? क्या ये वेसल्स के वैल्यू पे भी हर बार एक्सपोर्ट पे करना पड़ेगा? करेक्ट? तो फॉर दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड वन स्पेसिफिक वेरी nice case law which has been given by the Supreme Court, that we'll have to read and understand कि ये क्या है. Like let us go on to understand this, which is given under Jallian Udyog Bombay High Court. What does it states? Vessels, aircraft and vehicles, that is vessels, aircraft and vehicles carrying goods and passengers, right? If these vessels, aircraft or vehicles are carrying goods or passengers used as conveyance, दैट मीन्स उसको मैं कन्वेंस की तरह यूज कर रहा हूँ, उसको मैं एक व्हीकल की तरह यूज कर रहा हूँ जिसके अंदर लोडिंग होगा, अनलोडिंग होगा, आर नॉट क्लासिफाइड एज गुड्स एंड शैल नॉट बी लायबल टू ड्यूटी. दैट मीन्स ये जो गुड्स हैं, वेसल्स, एयरक्राफ्ट एंड व्हीकल्स, इफ दे आर यूज्ड एज अ कन्वेयंस, then they do not fall in the definition of goods and the duty shall not be liable. But if they are not used as conveyance and permanently imported into India, then they are called as goods. Correct everybody? Then they are liable to duty. To make it more clear to you guys, let me take you here with an example so that you guys can understand more in clarity. ये क्या बोलना चाह रहा है? Correct? अब ये समझो ये vessels है, right? There is one vessel over here. I am very bad at drawing, so please bear with me. There is a vessel over here, right? There is a ship over here, right? ये जो ship है, ये इंडिया का पोर्ट है, राइट? इंडिया के पोर्ट के अंदर आता है, राइट. दिस अगेन गोज बैक आउट ऑफ इंडिया, दिस अगेन कम्स बैक इन इंडिया, दिस अगेन गोज बैक आउट ऑफ इंडिया, दिस अगेन कम्स बैक इन इंडिया, दिस अगेन गोज बैक आउट ऑफ इंडिया, राइट. बिकॉज कोई ना कोई तो है जो इसका बिजनेस कर रहा है. Somebody is doing this business, correct everybody. So now if he is going to pay this import and export duty every time on the value of this particular ship, then to the whole business is at loss, correct. So therefore what the Jallian Udyog Bombay High Court says is that if there is any conveyance, that means if there is any vessels, right, which is being used as a conveyance. Now when you mean by conveyance, the conveyance means the carriage of goods as well as passengers. That means I am carrying goods and passengers coming into India, I am taking goods and passengers taking out from India, and again coming back to India with goods and passengers, again going out of India from goods and passengers. Then this particular ship per se does not fall under the definition of goods. Clear everybody? Clear everybody? Right? So but first time, right, first time, suppose you have a shipping company ABC Limited and you have a shipping company, right. So you have ordered one ship, right, you have ordered one ship from basically Russia or say basically from Italy. Ab your ship, this is ship which are ordered from Italy. Once you will have to import this ship, right, because for first time when it is coming, it is not used as conveyance, but it is giving you like a vehicle of import, right. So it is not used as conveyance. First time it is not going to carry the passengers as well as the goods. Clear? So it is not classified as conveyance. So first time when you are going to import this ship will be liable to the custom duty, right. And then when you start this moving or this using this ship in the business for loading and unloading of goods and passengers, then in each and every transaction no duty will be levied, whether you are coming into India or whether you are going out of India. I hope this is clear to you guys. Clear everybody? So what you have understood till now is the concept of goods itself, right. So again we'll recap what is this goods all about and where did we come into this goods per se, right. So let us go and evaluate this particular thing. So goods हम कहाँ से पहुँचे थे goods के अंदर. So we were seeing the charging section. Charging section stated duties of customs shall be levied on goods. Section 2 subsection 22 of Customs Act. Goods includes what? Vessels, aircraft and vehicles. Stores also included. Baggages also included. Currency and negotiable instruments also included, and any other kind of movable property. When we talk about movable property, we read about two things: TVs, iPads, as well as the intangibles which are loaded onto these TVs or iPads or the mobile phone. They will also be classified as the goods, and once they are classified as goods, on that also you will have to pay the custom duty. So you have to remember here the case law of Associated Cement Companies Limited. It held that the drawings, designs, manuals, technical material are goods liable to custom duty. So what happened in this situation is, it's a cement company, they went abroad, they hired some consultant, they make certain designs for them, they make certain manuals for them, technicals for them, that if you're putting certain plant like this is how you should use, this is how you should not use, and they charged for those kind of a services provided. So अगर ये लैपटॉप में ऐसे ही लेके आ गया, उसके अंदर सारे सॉफ्टवेयर सारे ईमेल्स के अंदर पड़े हैं, स्टिल दे विल बी क्लासिफाइड एज गुड्स because it has the nature of goods, and these goods are liable to customs duty. Very important to note, right. And then we read one more case law, that is Jallian Udyog, which states that ये vessels, aircraft and vehicles जो हैं उसको हम तभी उस पर GST customs लगाएंगे when they are not used as conveyance. If it is used as conveyance, then they are not goods, and hence no customs shall be liable to be paid, right. And if they are used as conveyance, then no customs is liable to be paid. But if they are not used as conveyance and permanently imported, that is the first time import what we have seen, then they are liable to import duty. I hope this is clear to everybody till now. So what we are reading till now is basically very simple. We are just trying to decode the charging section. Duty of customs shall be levied on goods. तो हमने पहले goods समझा, goods के अंदर definition समझा कि vessels होगा, stores होगा, baggages होगा, currency and negotiable instrument होगा, any other kind of movable property, that is both the tangible and intangible stuffs will form part of any other kind of movable property. And then we've also seen that these vessels, aircraft and vehicles जो दिया गया है, if they are used as conveyance, then they are not classified as good. But if they are used as conveyance, if they are used as conveyance, then they're not goods and hence customs shall not be liable. But if they're not used as conveyance, that is the first time import what I'm doing, or I'm using it from a permanent import for just for my purpose, then they are going to be classified as imported goods, and then there will be liability of duty. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now, second thing what we have to understand is when we read the charging section, it told us very specifically, except as otherwise provided in this act. So what is this except? Is that means certain conditions are there, correct? Now, so what are these conditions is what we have to understand here. So however, this levy, that means this levy of customs, however, this levy is subject to other sections. So what are those other sections? Let us just understand more in detail that what are these other sections. So what we are trying to understand here is the charging section. Under charging section, we saw that first charging section starts with an exception. It says certain restrictions are there, right? That means before reading section 12, read the other sections also, which are other sections also together with this particular section number 12. So that means this levy of custom duty is subject to other sections analysis also. So now let us do the analysis of these other sections. What does these sections speak about? And then we will see that what are these other sections speaking about and how they're related to this charging section. Clear everybody? Let us go and dig in detail more understanding of this charging section breakdown analysis. So we will see this, what are this subject to other section speaking about. Now this charging section is speaking about the other levy. However, this levy of customs is subject to other sections. So what are those other sections? This is just a summary, this is just a brief few sections which I have given. More sections will be covering in detail. This is just to give you an idea that this section 13 which states that if the goods are pilfered, कोई छोटी मोटी चोरी हो गई, मैं इंपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ और उस पर भी क्या मुझे ड्यूटी पे करना पड़ेगा? एज इट इज मेरा चोरी हो गया, मेरा फाइनेंशियल लॉस हो गया, स्टिल डू आई हैव टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर गुड्स विच आर पिल्फर्ड? नो. फॉर दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि चार्जिंग सेक्शन तो बोलता है कि आपको इंपोर्ट पे ड्यूटी पे करना है, बट अगर ये इंपोर्टेड माल में से कुछ चोरी हो गया है, पिल्फर्ड हो गया है, then you need not pay the customs duty on that pilfered amount. Similarly, अगर ये कोई goods damaged आ गए, मैंने ऑर्डर किया था something called as something which had a metal body, but the metal body had certain damages in that, right? So अगर वो damage हो गया, then मेरे को market में उसका रेट कम मिलने वाला है. So the damaged goods का reduction मिलेगा क्या मुझे on the custom duty, because का वैल्यू कम हो जाएगा. So that also will again have to read with section 12. section 12 बोलता है कि goods import हुआ तो custom duty तो लगाना है, but कितना custom, और उसके अंदर ये भी पॉइंट लिखा गया है कि that custom duty shall be levied as per the customs tariff act, right? उस रेट भी दे दिया है on the value defined as per section 14. अब ये वैल्यू जो हम बात कर रहे हैं ये तो रिड्यूस हो गया गुड्स का, तो क्या वो वैल्यू रिड्यूस होगा तो मुझे डैमेज्ड गुड्स के ऊपर कस्टम कम पे करना है. दैट इज आल्सो वन कंडीशन व्हिच वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. देन रेमिशन ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑन द डिस्ट्रॉयड गुड्स. कोई गुड डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया है, राइट? तो रेमिशन मिलेगा क्या मुझे उसके अंदर? व्हाट यू मीन रेमिशन? पूरा गुड्स अगर डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया है, मेरे हाथ में ही नहीं आया है, तो क्या मैं उस पर ड्यूटी मुझे भरना पड़ेगा कि वो कैंसिल हो जाएगा, राइट? So that is what is called as remission, right? When we talk about remission word, it is about meaning the cancellation of import duty. Then there are certain more sections where the government is given certain powers to grant certain transaction called as exemption, which will be in the benefit of the common man. Clear everybody? So I hope you have understood this breakdown analysis of the charging section. Let me just quickly recap this charging section with you guys once again, so that you know that what was the flow and how did we entered into this charging section. Clear everybody? So one second. Yeah. So this charging section stated except as otherwise provided in this act or any other law for the time being in force. That means it started with some condition कि आपको ये section 12 तो पढ़ना है, साथ में अलग अलग sections भी पढ़ने हैं. That means except as otherwise provided in this act or any other law for the time being in force. Then duties of customs shall be levied. ये हमको पता है levy होगा. किस पे levy होगा? On goods imported into India or exported from India. At what rate? At such rates as may be specified in the Customs Tariff Act 1975 or any other law for the time being in force. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now, then we did the breakdown analysis कि ये पूरा section के अंदर क्या लिखा है. Then what is the steps to charge custom duty? Basically, duties of customs shall be levied on goods. Goods are defined in section 2 subsection 22 of the Customs Act. This levy is subject to other sections. How did we got into this analysis? That means it is stated in the starting sentence also, except as otherwise provided. So from there we got this analysis कि this levy is subject to some other sections also. And then what is the taxable event? On the goods imported into India or goods exported from India is the another taxable event. Now, duties of customs shall be levied at the rate as per the Customs Tariff Act. This also we have read and analyzed this. And ये duty किस पे लगेगा? The value shall be defined as per the valuation section number 14. Clear everybody? Then we understood that what does goods include and what does goods does not include, and what are the various what are the various things we need to keep in mind when we are analyzing कि ये goods के definition के अंदर आएगा या नहीं आएगा. Customs का goods का definition is different from the goods definition of the GST, right? So then we understood the definition of customs goods. What we did understand? Goods includes, क्या क्या include करता है goods? Good includes vessels, that is vessels जिसपे खुद सी पे जो goods import हो रहे हैं, export हो रहे हैं. Aircraft is also included and the vehicles are also included. Then stores, that means जो भी उसके अंदर load करके लेके आ रहे हैं for the consumption, those are also called as stores. Then baggages, जो उसके अंदर goods के साथ जो baggages load होकर आ रहे हैं, luggage load होकर आ रहे हैं, either it can be accompanied baggage or unaccompanied baggage, that also is included in the definition of goods. Then currency and negotiable instruments are also included in the definition of goods, and any other kind of movable property. When we talk about the movable property, it includes both tangible and intangible. For that, there is one case law of Associated Cement Company Limited where it stated that the drawings, designs, manuals, technical material, whatever you are putting into a media, what do you mean media? Either a pen drive, either a CD or a laptop or an iPad, those are also will be classified as goods and customs will be paid on that particular intangibles also. Now how to value that intangible is given under section 14 of the valuation, that we will be seeing once we see the valuation provision, right? तो ये समझ में आ गया कि इस पे कस्टम ड्यूटी पे करना है, क्या रेट पे करना है, दैट इज गिवन अंडर द कस्टम्स टैरिफ एक्ट, और क्या वैल्यू होगा उसका, जो इसका ड्राइंग्स का वैल्यू होगा, डिजाइंस का वैल्यू होगा, दैट वी विल आइडेंटिफाई वंस वी रीड द सेक्शन नंबर 14 ऑफ द कस्टम एक्ट. क्लियर एवरीबॉडी? नाउ अब ये वेसल्स, एयरक्राफ्ट और व्हीकल्स है, अगर क्या उस पे बार बार आने जाने पे कस्टम लगने वाला है, इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी लगने वाला है, then how expensive it will become for the people who are operating into this business, right? So there is a specific case law, landmark judgment given by Jallian Udyog, Bombay High Court. It stated that what, अगर ये vessels, aircraft and vehicles, if they are used as conveyance and they are not classified as goods, अगर वो गुड्स के अंदर क्लासिफिकेशन के अंदर नहीं आ रहा है, देन देयर शैल बी नो ड्यूटी लाइबिलिटी. बट इफ दे आर नॉट यूज्ड एज कन्वेंस एंड परमानेंटली इंपोर्टेड, दैट मीन मैं मुकेश अंबानी हूँ, मैंने कोई चीज़ को इंपोर्ट कर लिया, मैंने बोला कि मुझे ये एयरक्राफ्ट चाहिए, ये मेक चाहिए, एंड आई इंपोर्टेड दिस फॉर माई पर्सनल कंजम्पशन, देन उस पर इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी लगने वाला है. आई होप इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीबडी? Till now what we have done, is it clear to everybody? Then ये हमने समझ लिया, हमने goods को break down किया. Then we've also broken down the levy is subject to other sections. So what are those other sections that we'll understand now? That means section number 13, no duty on pilfered goods. Section number 22, reduced duty on the damaged goods. Section number 23, remission of duty on the destroyed goods. पावर टू ग्रांट एग्जेम्पशन. देयर आर फ्यू मोर सेक्शन. सो हियर हम क्या समझना चाह रहे हैं कि कस्टम ड्यूटी तो मुझे लगने वाला है, ये गुड्स पे लगने वाला है, ये रेट पे लगने वाला है, ये वैल्यू पे लगने वाला है. अगर वो जो गुड्स मैं इंपोर्ट कर रहा हूं, अगर वो पिल्फर्ड हो गया तो क्या मुझे ड्यूटी पे करना है या उस पर नहीं पे करना है, वो कौन बताएगा? दैट इज गिवन अंडर सेक्शन 13. जो अगर गुड्स डैमेज हो गए, मैं मंगाया कुछ था और वो डैमेज गुड्स आए हैं, तो क्या उस पर कितना ड्यूटी पे करना है, रिड्यूस रेट पे करना है कि एक्चुअल रेट पे करना है, वो कौन बताएगा? सेक्शन नंबर 22 बताएगा. रेमिशन ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑन डिस्ट्रॉयड गुड, गुड्स आने के पहले ही मेरा गुड्स डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया, तो मुझ पर एक तो फाइनेंशियल लॉस तो हुआ ही हुआ, क्या मैं उसके ऊपर ड्यूटी भी पे करूंगा, क्या वो ड्यूटी कैंसिल हो सकती है, ये कौन बताएगा? सेक्शन नंबर 23 बताएगा. तो देयर आर फ्यू मोर सेक्शंस व्हिच विल बी गोइंग इन डिटेल, एंड देयर इज वन मोर सेक्शन नंबर 25 दैट इज गिविंग ग्रांट पावर टू द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट टू ग्रांट सर्टेन ट्रांजैक्शन एज एन एग्जेम्प्ट ट्रांजैक्शन जिस पे ड्यूटी नहीं लगने वाला है, इवन दो इट फुलफिल्स द कंडीशंस ऑफ दिस सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 22. क्लियर एवरीबॉडी? Now, so what is a taxable event? That is import of goods into India or exports of goods from India, and duties of customs shall be levied at the rate as per Customs Tariff Act 1975, and value is there as per section 14 of the Customs Tariff Act, Customs Act. Clear everybody? I hope this definition is clear to you guys. Clear? So now let us move back and understand in detail. Now what we have done till now is basically just few conceptual clarity we have brought into the picture. One was the introduction, second was the various laws which we have to study, and third was the charging section is what we have decoded till now. Understand, अभी तक हमने खाली सब बेसिक चार्जिंग सेक्शन को डिकोड किया है, राइट? अब ये जो डिकोड किया है चार्जिंग सेक्शन को, वी विल ट्राई टू लिंक दिस चार्जिंग सेक्शन विद एवरीवेयर व्हेन वी आर स्टडीइंग द कस्टम्स लॉ. अगर चार्जिंग सेक्शन आपके माइंड में घुस गया, चार्जिंग सेक्शन इज परफेक्ट इन योर हेड, nobody can stop you from analyzing the customs law or any other law for the time being in matter. जो भी आप लॉ पढ़ते हो, अगर उसका चार्जिंग सेक्शन को आपने टुकड़े 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 में तोड़ दिया, एक एक वर्ड को एनालिसिस कर लिया, then the whole law becomes an मस्का for you. The whole law becomes very easy for you, simple for you. Clear everybody? It's all pure common sense. Trust me, the law is all common sense and the common sense is uncommon. Clear everybody? So now we will move on to understand कि चार्जिंग सेक्शन तो हमने समझ लिया. Now we go on to understand कि ये जो हम conditions बोल रहे थे, subject to other conditions, उसको specifically I've broken down into certain concept called as remissions, abatement and exemptions from custom duty. So let us understand this remission, abatement and exemptions क्या होता है. Now section 13, section 23(1), section 23(2), section 22, section 24 and section 25 is what we have to read when we read this charging section analysis subject to certain other sections, right? So section 13 speaks about नो ड्यूटी लाइबिलिटी गुड्स पिल्फर्ड हो गया तो उस पर ड्यूटी लाइबिलिटी नहीं होगा. सेक्शन 23(1) स्पीक्स अबाउट रेमिशन ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑन गुड्स लॉस्ट और स्टोलन. व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट रेमिशन इट इज कैंसिलेशन. व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट रेमिशन इट इज कैंसिलेशन. आरसी रेमिशन इज कैंसिलेशन. दैट मीन्स अगर गुड्स लॉस्ट हो गए, डिस्ट्रॉय हो गए, तो मैं उस पर ड्यूटी कैसे भरूंगा, राइट? मुझे एक चीज मिला ही नहीं है तो मैं उस पर ड्यूटी कैसे पे करूंगा, राइट? सो देयर इज कैंसिलेशन ऑफ ड्यूटी. देन यू हैव रेमिशन ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑन अबैंडन्ड गुड्स. मैंने वो गुड्स को लिया ही नहीं तो मैं उस पर ड्यूटी क्यों पे करूंगा? एक तो मैंने गुड्स का पेमेंट कर दिया है, वो ड्यूटी वो मैंने गुड्स को उठाया ही नहीं कस्टम से, वो गुड्स को मैंने क्लियर ही नहीं किया, देन व्हाई शुड आई मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ ड्यूटी? तो उसको भी कैंसिलेशन कैसे करना है? देन abatement of goods which are damaged or destroyed, right? Then certain goods which were damaged or destroyed, तो पूरा का पूरा वैल्यू तो मुझे मार्केट में मिलेगा नहीं, सो आई हैव टू गेट अ रिड्यूस्ड वैल्यू. तो क्या वो रिड्यूस्ड वैल्यू पे मुझे ड्यूटी में भी रिडक्शन मिलेगा? सो व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट अबेटमेंट, अबेटमेंट इज नथिंग बट अ रिडक्शन ऑन द वैल्यू ऑफ कस्टम्स ड्यूटी. Remissions means complete cancellation, abatements means reduction. Remission means complete cancellation, abatements means reduction. Remission means complete cancellation, abatement means reduction. क्लियर एवरीबॉडी? क्या मुझे रेमिशन कब मिलेगा या अबेटमेंट कब मिलेगा? कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो गया? जब मेरे पास गुड्स आया ही नहीं तो मुझे रेमिशन मिलेगा, और अगर मेरे पास गुड्स का क्वालिटी जो है डैमेज हो गया, डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया, तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा? अबेटमेंट मिलेगा, राइट? देन वी हैव सर्टेन मोर रूल्स, दैट इज पावर टू मेक रूल्स फॉर डीनेचरिंग और म्यूटिलेशन ऑफ द गुड्स, राइट? नाउ देयर आर फ्यू स्मार्ट क्लाइंट्स, वो क्या बोलते हैं, सर एक काम करते हैं, मैं ना ये गुड्स है, मशीनरी है, इसको मैं इंपोर्ट करना चाहता हूँ, राइट? अब मैं अगर इसको फुल मशीनरी दिखा के इंपोर्ट करूंगा तो क्या होएगा? इसको बोला जाएगा कि इस पे 30% ड्यूटी लग रहा है. अज्यूम करते हैं कि 30% ड्यूटी लग रहा है, तो मैं इसको क्या करता हूँ, आई कॉल दिस मशीनरी एज अ सेकेंड हैंड स्क्रैप मशीनरी, एंड उस पर मेरे को 10% ही कस्टम ड्यूटी पे करना पड़ेगा. सो आर द डिपार्टमेंट don't know this loophole? The department knows this loophole and hence they have given this power to the officer to denature or mutilate the goods. We'll go in detail once you understand the section. Denature or mutilate the goods. Goods को denature करना, mutilate करना, तोड़ना is what is the power given to the department. Clear? Then central government also has certain power to grant exemptions from the duty. Right? So let us go in detail and understand these sections which is related to the charging section. Charging section के अंदर हमने देखा था certain subject to certain other sections, right? So now we will go and understand this remission concept or abatement concept or exemptions from. So what do you mean by remission, abatement and exemption from duty is what we have to understand. हमने charging section के अंदर ये पढ़ा था कि देर आर सर्टन सब्जेक्ट टू सर्टन मोर सेक्शंस, ये कस्टम ड्यूटी कैसे लगेगा नहीं लगेगा, दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई, करेक्ट। अब ये जो अदर सेक्शंस हैं, हाउ डू वी कम टू एनालाइज कि ये अदर सेक्शंस हो सकते हैं जिसके वजह से कस्टम ड्यूटी पे आपको इफेक्ट आने वाला है, राइट। तो ये कस्टम ड्यूटी पे इफेक्ट कब आएगा आपको, या तो मेरा कोई सिचुएशन ऐसा हो कि मैं कस्टम ड्यूटी कम पे करूं, या फिर कोई सिचुएशन ऐसा हो जहां मैं कस्टम ड्यूटी पेमेंट ना करूं। तो व्हाट आर दो सिचुएशन इज व्हाट वी हैव टू एनालाइज हियर एंड सी दैट क्या उस पे कस्टम ड्यूटी मुझे रेमिशन मिलेगा या अबेटमेंट मिलेगा, या ये पूरा का पूरा ट्रांजैक्शन एग्जेम्प्ट है फ्रॉम कस्टम ड्यूटी। क्लियर एवरीबॉडी। सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट दिस रेमिशन का मतलब क्या होता है, कंप्लीट कैंसिलेशन, मुझे इस पे ड्यूटी पे करने का जरूरत ही नहीं है। बेसिक लॉजिक सिंपल है, अगर कोई गुड्स मेरे पास आया ही नहीं है तो मैं उस पर ड्यूटी क्यों पे करूंगा, करेक्ट। देन अबेटमेंट का मतलब क्या होगा, कोई चीज़ का वैल्यू अगर कम हो गया है या वो जो गुड्स मैं इंपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ उसका जो वैल्यू है वो डैमेज हो गया है, डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया है, और उसको वो डिटीरिएट हो गया है, देन व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी द कॉन्सेप्ट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हियर, करेक्ट। So let us go and understand this in detail. So section number 13, no duty liability if goods are pilfered. पिल्फरेज का मतलब क्या हो गया, मैंने कोई गुड्स मंगाया, करेक्ट एवरीबडी। व्हाट यू मीन बाय पिल्फरेज, सो लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू मीन पिल्फरेज फर्स्ट। मैंने सपोज यहाँ से मैंने कुछ स्पेन से कोई टॉयज, यूरोप से कोई टॉयज मंगाए मैंने, राइट। सो दिस टॉयज इज कवरिंग बेसिकली 1000 यूनिट्स ऑफ टॉयज, 1000 बॉक्सेस ऑफ टॉयज मैंने मंगाए। अभी वो 1000 बॉक्सेस में से इफ वन बॉक्स इज स्टोलन और इज लॉस्ट, दैट मीन्स इट इज पिल्फरेज, राइट। दैट मीन्स द क्वांटिटी ऑफ लॉस इज वेरी लेस, बट ये बिकॉज ये मेरे को मिला ही नहीं है वन बॉक्स, सो विल आई बी लायबल टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर वन बॉक्स ऑल्सो, or I will be liable to make the payment of duty only on 999 boxes, right? So what the section 13 says is no duty liability if goods are pilfered. अगर goods का pilferage हो गया है तो उस पर duty liability नहीं पे करना है। Similarly, section number 23(1), this goes in hand with section number 23(1) and section number 13. Section number 13 talks about pilferage, that is minor loss of goods, and section number 23 speaks about the remission of duty of goods basically lost or destroyed, right? So when you talk about remission, it means cancellation, and when you talk about goods pilfered, it is no duty payable at all. And when you talk about remission, that means you are asking government to cancel the duty on that particular lost goods or damaged goods. That means when you are asking something to the department, you have to prove कि ये goods lost हुआ है या damaged हुआ है, और तभी आपको उस पर remission मिलने वाला है। Clear everybody? So let us go and understand this in detail. Similarly, 23(2) speaks about remission, that is cancellation of duty on abandoned goods. Why are you abandoning this goods? This also you will have to prove to the department कि ये मैं because मैं abandon कर रहा हूँ इसीलिए मुझे इस पे ड्यूटी का जो है cancellation करके दो, right? So these are three things which we have to understand as far as the remission or cancellation of duty is concerned, and then we'll move on to understand कि abatement कब मिलेगा, reduced value of customs कब मिलेगा, then we see that denaturing का concept क्या है, then we will see the power to grant exemption from the custom duty. Clear everybody? So let us first concentrate on the remission aspect and then we move on to the abatement aspects also. Clear? So हम ये समझ रहे हैं कि चार्जिंग सेक्शन के अंदर कंडीशन है सब्जेक्ट टू अदर सेक्शन. Now we are analyzing those other sections, that is section number 13, section number 23(1) and section number 23(2). This is clear to everybody? So now let us go in detail and analyze these particular sections also. So section 13, no duty liability if goods are pilfered, that is after unloading, right? अगर ये goods after unloading, now what do you mean after unloading? I'll show you the diagram. But before clearance order for home consumption or warehousing, pilferage means it should happen at the port in the custody of the custodian. Correct everybody? So let me just make you understand this. Suppose if you are importing certain goods, right? आपने कोई goods को import किया, वो goods आके यहाँ पे आपके customs port पे अनलोड होने वाले हैं, करेक्ट. दैट मीन्स दिस इज आफ्टर अनलोडिंग, यहाँ पे गुड्स अनलोड हो गया, बट बिफोर क्लियरेंस ऑर्डर. नाउ यू कैन टेक दिस गुड्स आउट इन टू सिचुएशन. वन इज फॉर होम क्लियरेंस, That means you file the bill of entry for home clearance plus you make the payment of import duty and then you take these goods out from this customs port for home clearance. Second, what you can do is you can clear these goods for warehousing. You say, because I do not have this money right now to make the payment of import duty and the demurrage charges, the rent charges at the port is very expensive as compared to the rent charges at the warehousing. So what I say is that I want to move these goods from this particular port to the warehousing, and for this I will be filing bill of entry for warehousing and I will not be paying the import duty. Correct? So यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहा है, that is पिलफरेज कब होना चाहिए, दैट इज आफ्टर अनलोडिंग. यहाँ पे गुड्स अनलोड हो गया बट बिफोर क्लियरेंस ऑर्डर फॉर होम कंजम्पशन. नाउ ये सिचुएशन से लेके ये सिचुएशन तक अगर कोई मेरा गुड्स पिलफर्ड हुआ है, करेक्ट, देन it is called as pilferage. That is minimum loss of the goods, less amount of losses of the goods is called as pilferage. Now or warehousing, right? So basically but before clearance order for home consumption or for warehousing, right? यहाँ से यहाँ जाने तक या यहाँ से यहाँ जाने तक अगर कोई goods pilfered हो गया है then it is called as pilferage. Means it should happen at the port itself. ये जो port है इसके अंदर ही होना चाहिए in the custody of the custodian. I hope this is clear to everybody, right? So now we move on to understand this was basically what is given as far as the pilfered goods are concerned. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? So now we will see once again. I'll explain you this whole concept of pilferage. What does this pilferage says, right? ये customs का port है. Goods are coming from outside. The goods are lying here at the customs port. Now ये customs port का responsibility किसका है? It is the responsibility of custodian because the importer is not allowed here. तो यहाँ पे जो भी goods पड़े हैं, it is the responsibility of the custodians to take care of these goods, right? Now suppose I have imported 1000 quantity, उसमें से 1 quantity is pilfered, the remaining quantity is 999. तो these pilfered goods पे मुझे ड्यूटी पे नहीं करना है. Now this ड्यूटी, ये pilfered goods कब कैलकुलेट होगा कि 1 कहाँ पे लॉस हुआ है? So this after unloading, यहाँ पे unloading वाला कंडीशन फुलफिल हो गया, but before clearance order for home consumption और फॉर क्लियरेंस ऑर्डर फॉर वेयर हाउसिंग. दैट मीन्स या तो गुड्स मेरे होम कंजम्पशन के लिए जाने वाले हैं या गुड्स मेरे वेयर हाउस पे जाने वाले हैं बिफोर क्लियरेंस ऑर्डर इज गिवन आइदर फॉर होम कंजम्पशन और फॉर वेयर हाउसिंग. अगर उसके पहले कोई गुड्स पिलफर्ड हो गया है देन यू आर नॉट सपोज, द इंपोर्टर विल नॉट बी लायबल टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ द ड्यूटी. द रीजन बीइंग, जब उसको गुड्स मिला ही नहीं, उसके कंट्रोल के बाहर था, देन व्हाई यू शुड बी लायबल टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ दिस इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू एवरीबॉडी. नाउ सेकंड कॉन्सेप्ट व्हाट वी वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड हियर इज दैट दिस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन इज एप्लीकेबल इन द पोर्ट इटसेल्फ, राइट? सो अगर कोई चीज पिलफर्ड वेयरहाउस से हो रही है देन सेक्शन 13 is not applicable. Clear everybody? That means here it says very clearly that pilferage means it should happen at the port only. It should happen at the port only. And basically ये खाली पोर्ट पे होना चाहिए in the custodian of the custody, right? So in case if there's any loss, the custodian will have to bear the losses, right? So custodian will have to bear the losses. That means the tax recovery will be done by the custodian. Now there can be situation that these goods which are pilfered are given back to you, correct? Are given back to the importer. If these goods are given back to the importer, then duty becomes liable. Now there can be another situation that once you are filing this bill of entry for home consumption or you have already made the payment of duty, but while taking out the goods from the port there is certain pilferage, right? आपको बाद में मालूम पड़ा कि pilferage हुआ है or the pilferages happen later, then whatever duty you have made the payment extra, you can claim the refund. Clear everybody? Clear everybody? That means अगर गुड्स पिलफर्ड हुए हैं तो क्या होगा? पहले चीज, अगर मुझे पहले ही मालूम पड़ गया पिलफरेज के बारे में तो मुझे उस पर ड्यूटी पे करने का जरूरत नहीं है. Why? Because it is the responsibility of the custodian to take care of my goods, right? So this is basically happening after unloading. Goods अनलोड हो गए, अपने प्रॉपर कस्टोडियन को मालूम है कि गुड्स कहाँ पे रखे हुए हैं, क्या रखे हुए हैं, एंड बट बिफोर क्लियरेंस ऑर्डर, बट मैं क्लियर करने के पहले ही ये गुड्स पिलफर्ड हो गए. नाउ क्लियरेंस इज ऑफ टू सिचुएशन, वन इज फॉर होम कंजम्पशन एंड वन इज फॉर वेयरहाउसिंग. बिफोर क्लियरिंग फॉर एनी ऑफ these two situations, if the goods are pilfered here at this particular situation, then the custodian is liable for this particular duty to be this recovery will happen from the custodian himself. Clear everybody? Then अगर ये goods जो pilfered हुए हैं, if it is restored back to you, then you will have to make the payment of import duty on that particular goods. But अगर आपने payment कर दिया उसके बाद pilferage हुआ है, then you will have to make the claim the refund of that particular extra amount which you have paid. Right? Clear everybody? Section 13, no duty of liability if goods is pilfered. This is clear, and this is applicable only at the port and not at the warehouse. Clear everyone? Now next we move on to understand is section number 23, that is remission of duty. What is remission? Cancellation of duty. Correct? यहां भी हमने देखा कि जो मेरा आउटफ्लो है इंपोर्टर का जो आउटफ्लो है ऑन दैट लॉस्ट गुड्स इज जीरो. दैट मीन्स इफ आई एम नॉट गेटिंग दैट गुड्स which are pilfered, I am not supposed to make the payment of the import duty. Similarly, when we talk about remission of the duty, remission means cancellation. Now this is basically cancellation. That means whenever I have to do some cancellation, I will have to apply for the cancellation. Correct? In general also. So when I apply for this cancellation, I have to give a reason, or I have to prove that actually what is the reason behind it. Right? So any remission, if I want to claim under section 23(1) on the duty is on the goods lost or on the goods destroyed. So how will we see whether the goods are lost or destroyed? Is basically the burden is on the importer. Clear everybody? So now let us see in detail this particular section number 23 subsection 1. So section number 23 subsection 1, remission of duty on goods lost or destroyed. So section 23 applies only when there is no pilferage under section 13. So it says what? Section 23 and section 13 cannot happen simultaneously. It says what? अगर section 13 applicable हुआ है, that means pilfered goods हुआ है, then for that particular quantity of goods section 23 is not applicable. So section 23 applies only when there is no pilferage under section number 13. Clear? Now when I have told you that you are asking for cancellation, right? You are applying for cancellation, you are applying for remission. For that particular thing, you will have to prove that the goods are actually lost or destroyed. So right, so the burden of proof is on the importer to prove whether these goods are lost or these goods are destroyed. Now remission of duty only and only if possible if the ACDC is satisfied that the goods is actually lost or destroyed. Right? So here you have the burden of proof to prove the ACDC that the goods are actually lost or destroyed, and hence only if he is satisfied, then he will do the remission of the duty. That means only if the ACDC is satisfied with your explanation, then only he will be remitting the duty. Right? Correct everybody? Now loss or destruction should be before clearance from the customers. Loss or destruction, this loss or destruction, right, ये कब होना चाहिए? This loss or destruction should be before clearance from the customs and applicable to warehouse goods also. This should happen before clearance from the customs and is applicable to the warehouse goods also. Clear everybody? So here what we've seen is that यहाँ पे जो सीन है लॉस्ट होना या डिस्ट्रॉय होना, this can happen at the customs only, and it is before the clearance from the custom this should happen. Then only you are allowed to claim for the remission, and if the ACDC is satisfied with your explanation, then only he might grant the remission of duty in such situation. I hope this is clear to everybody. So whenever you have to understand the word remission मतलब I am asking for the cancellation. When I am asking for something, I will have to prove कि मैं ये क्यों मांग रहा हूँ. Correct? Suppose if I say that if I want to file an income tax return, what is the purpose of filing an income tax return? Is that I want to declare my income to the government, and I might also have a purpose to basically claim or take certain loan for the housing property, right? So here whenever I want certain thing from the department, that means I'm asking for remission from the department, remission of duty. So the burden of proof is on the importer himself. He will have to prove through the ACDC that the goods is lost or destroyed. Clear everyone? Can we move back again and see the other concepts of remission of duty? Right? So section 23(1) is clear. Now we will go and see section 23(2), which speaks about the remission of duty on abandoned goods. Now what do you mean abandoned goods? जिसका मैंने उस पे I have not taken the charge on that good, correct? So let us read this particular abandoned goods and then we will see that can I claim remission. That means again remission means cancellation, and for cancellation I will have to apply. So when I will have to apply, I will have to prove to the department कि boss why I am abandoning this goods. मैंने कोई goods को मंगाया और मैंने उसको लिया ही नहीं. Correct. I hope everybody have seen the movie called Badmash Company. In that, Shahid Kapoor and their gang, they went to China and they imported a lot of shoes, right? So what they did, right leg in one container in Bombay and left leg in one container in Chennai. So once the right leg came into Bombay, who will buy only, what is the use of only right leg shoes? There's no use. So they claimed that because these goods have no value, I am not going to claim these goods and leave it at the customs only. So अब customs क्या करेगा? Custom will do the action and somebody will pick up the goods. So because it was only right leg shoes, nobody even picked up in the auction, right? So here there was a remission or cancellation of abandoned goods. Clear? Similarly, it went to the Chennai also. They did the same thing, the left leg, and they bought the goods into the they purchased that goods and they collectively they made these goods together and then they started selling the goods. I hope everybody remembers that. So now let us read in detail about this section, so it will give you more clarity. I give you background about this. So owner of the goods before clearance or deposit into warehouse relinquishes his title. मैं बोलता मुझे गुड्स चाहिए नहीं, मैं खाली राइट लेग का शूज लेके क्या करने वाला हूँ. So I becoming an importer, I will relinquish the title itself. Then no duty is payable, that is save duty. At least I should save my duty. Already I have lost my money while I make the payment to the person who is sending me the goods, right? So already I have lost the money, in financial loss is there, and again I have to make the payment of duty. No, I am going to make the payment of duty, so I am going to relinquish my title before clearance or deposit into warehouse. Now no relinquishment with regards to offensive good. अगर कोई offensive goods है, for that offensive good relinquishment is not possible. Clear? Importer में relinquish if goods are not as per specification. मैंने जूते मंगाए थे right leg left leg but आया only right leg, or damaged or deteriorated during voyage. वो आने के टाइम पे कुछ डैमेज हो गया, डिटीरिएट हो गया, rendering them useless, right? So shoes only right leg, what is the use? It is rendering them useless. There might be the breach of contract and the importer is unwilling to take the delivery. So only under this situation I can say I do not want the title and I am not going to make the payment of the import duty. Why? I already have suffered the financial losses. Why again I have to make the payment of import duty? Correct? So here also I have to prove to the department that why it becomes useless for me. Under that means either it is not as per specification or it is a damaged goods or deteriorated goods during the voyage, rendering them unless thereby there might be the breach of contract and importer is unwilling to take the delivery. I hope this is clear to everybody. So till now what we have covered is the remission aspect of the remission aspect as far as the charging section relation is concerned. So we have seen in the charging section that while reading the charging section, it stated that it is subject to other sections. So section 13 is first section which you have to read. After section the charging section, that is section number 12, that if the goods are pilfered at the port itself, then no duty is payable because it is the responsibility of the custodian to take care of the goods, and I being an importer, I don't know what is happening, so I am not liable to make the payment of duty on those pilfered goods. When you talk about pilfered goods, the value of that goods is less. That is the definition, that is the concept of pilfered goods, right? Then we have seen that cancellation of duty is required if the goods are lost or destroyed. So who is going to prove that the goods are lost or destroyed? किसको remission चाहिए, किसको cancellation चाहिए, वही बंदा prove करेगा that the goods are lost or destroyed, and this loss or destruction should be before clearance from the customs and applicable to warehouse goods also, right? So this जो warehouse है वो भी customs के अंदर ही आता है, right? So before I clear it from the customs for either the home consumption or I clear it from the warehouse for home consumption, उसमें अगर कुछ ट्रांजैक्शन बिफोर क्लियरिंग अगर कुछ होता है, then I can claim the remission on the duty, and for claiming that I will have to prove to the ACDC, and if the ACDC is satisfied that the goods is lost or destroyed, then only he will allow us the remission of the duty, that is cancellation of the duty. Clear everyone? Then we have seen that goods abandoned. This goods abandoned is basically मैंने वो goods का title छोड़ दिया, and because it is not valuable for me, and why should I suffer the losses? Already I have suffered the financial financial losses. Now why I should suffer the duty loss also, and hence I am abandoning this goods, and hence the goods lies with the customs and they will do the auction of those goods, and hence they will not be getting the duty on that particular value of those goods. Clear everybody? So till now what we have seen is basically the remission concept. When we talk about remission, the outflow of the customs duty from the importer is zero, right? So remission मतलब क्या हो गया कि जो मेरे यहाँ से पैसे लगने वाले ड्यूटी के लिए दैट इज जीरो ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर पोर्शन. तो सेक्शन 13 नो ड्यूटी लाइबिलिटी इफ द गुड्स आर पिल्फर्ड. सेक्शन 23(1) remission of duty on goods lost or destroyed, and section 23(2) remission of duty on abandoned goods. I hope this is clear to everybody. So the first concept of remission is clear to everybody. Clear? Now let us move on to understand the abatement concept, right? हमने remission तो समझ लिया कि ये मेरा outflow zero होने वाला है, right? So now there can be situation where there is no complete loss or destruction, or there is no complete value reduction as far as the goods are concerned. So section 22 speaks about abatement of goods which are damaged or deteriorated. Sorry, my bad. Damaged or deteriorated. Clear? So section 22 speaks about the goods which are damaged or deteriorated is what we have to understand as far as deteriorated. Correct. So section 23 is basically abatement of goods which are damaged or deteriorated. मेरे पास जो goods हैं वो डैमेज हो गए या डिटीरिएट हो गए तो उस पे मुझे क्या अबेटमेंट मिलेगा. सो फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस वी विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द वर्ड कॉल्ड डैमेज्ड फर्स्ट and also the word called deteriorated. So let us go in detail and understand these two words, that is damaged and deteriorated, and then we will see कि उसको मुझे कितना abatement मिलेगा. When we talk about abatement, we have seen abatement means reduction or decrease in the value of the custom duty, and remission means cancellation. When we talk about cancellation, the amount of outflow is zero, and when we talk about abatement, the amount of outflow is less than what is actually to be payable, right? So let us understand in detail the concept of abatement of goods which are damaged or deteriorated. Now, so section 22 abatement of goods which are damaged or deteriorated. So how does this section reads? Abatement means reduction. Abatement means reduction. Abatement कब मिलने वाला है, किसका मिलने वाला है? This abatement is of damaged goods or deteriorated goods. So what is the damaged goods and what is deteriorated goods is what we have to understand, right? So damaged का मतलब क्या हो गया, मैंने इस चीज को import किया, इसके अंदर कुछ holes हैं, this becomes a damaged good, or this has certain bends in, this has certain scratches in it, then it becomes a damaged goods, right? Now suppose if I imported some exotic fruits और मैंने उसको मैंने क्लियरेंस ही नहीं कराया, then it becomes a deteriorated goods, right? So there's a difference, thin line of difference between damaged and deteriorated. Deteriorated का मतलब क्या होता है, उसका वैल्यू जीरो हो गया है during with the passage of time, and damage is basically the damage which is available physically in general. There's a damaged goods, scratch लगा हुआ है, dent आया हुआ है, these are called as damaged goods, right? So जब मैं damaged goods की बात करूंगा, if this bottle is basically in a proper format, I will get good money in the market. But if it has a dent or if it has a scratch in this bottle, I will have to reduce the price and sell it in the market, right? तो ये abatement मुझे प्राइस में भी करना पड़ रहा है, रिडक्शन करना पड़ रहा है. तो क्या मैं डिपार्टमेंट से मांग नहीं सकता हूँ कि बॉस इसका जो वैल्यू है मुझे कम करके दो, बिकॉज उसको मैं बेचने ही कमवाने वाला हूँ, सो आई विल हैव टू मेक द लेस पेमेंट ऑफ कस्टम ड्यूटी. अगेन यू आर आस्किंग फॉर अबेटमेंट, सो यू विल हैव टू प्रूव टू द डिपार्टमेंट ACDC that why these goods are called as damaged goods or deteriorated goods and what is going to be the situation here. So now if the goods are damaged or deteriorated before or during the unloading, goods को unload करने से पहले या during the transit, if the goods are deteriorated, right, that means if the goods are damaged or deteriorated before coming to the port or during the unloading करते समय कुछ damage हो गया, then what is the situation? Then for damaged goods abatement is available. That means I can ask the department to reduce the duty, and for deteriorated goods also abatement will be available. Clear everybody? Why? Because it is before reaching the port and it is during the unloading. So यहाँ तक जो responsibility है वो importer का responsibility है ही नहीं, hence he can avail the abatement of these particular goods which are damaged or deteriorated before or during unloading period. Now after unloading, right? So before unloading the concept is clear. जब मेरे हाथ में चीज ही नहीं है, importer के पास में कोई control ही नहीं है, hence abatement is available. Now when we talk about after unloading क्या होने वाला है? अबेटमेंट इज अनअवेलेबल फॉर डिटीरियोरेटेड गुड्स. अब ये गुड्स अनलोड हो गया. नाउ दिस एक्सोटिक फ्रूट्स और वेजिटेबल्स हैव बीन अनलोडेड, बट आई हैव नॉट वेंट अहेड एंड क्लियर्ड इट for my home consumption. Why? Because I didn't had money to pay the customs duty, right? So this here, because it is lying in the customs port, उसका वैल्यू कम हो गया, right? अगर कोई चीज़ फ्रेश बिकेगी तो उसका वैल्यू ज़्यादा होगा, कोई चीज़ 4 दिन के बाद बिकेगा तो उसका वैल्यू कम हो जाएगा, उसका वैल्यू डिटीरिएट हो जाएगा. सो इफ द गुड्स आर डिटीरिएटेड and it is after unloading, it is whose responsibility? It is importer's responsibility, and hence he is not eligible to avail the abatement benefit. Clear everybody? Very simple, common sense, nothing to worry. Common sense is uncommon, so please concentrate, apply your common sense, and then it will be very simple for you to understand this customs law. Clear? Now if it is after unloading and the goods are damaged, right? After unloading but the goods are damaged, आफ्टर अनलोडिंग बट मैंने इस गुड्स को क्लियर नहीं करा है, तो किसका रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? कस्टोडियन का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, राइट? सो दिस इज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द कस्टोडियन, और जो गुड्स आए हैं वही खराब आए हैं, राइट? सो आई कैन अवेल द अबेटमेंट showing that I need an abatement because the goods are damaged or deteriorated. Clear everybody? This concept is clear of abatement. Abatement का मतलब क्या होता है? I am asking for reduction in the value of custom duty, right? So before unloading हो सकता है तो मुझे abatement मिलेगा both if the goods are damaged or if the goods are deteriorated. But after unloading हुआ और अगर goods का value deteriorate हो गया तो मुझे abatement नहीं मिलेगा. After unloading हुआ और goods का value the goods are damaged, then I can avail the benefit of abatement. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now this abatement is also applicable to the warehoused goods before clearance for home consumption. जो चीज़ warehouse में पड़ी हुई है उसके अंदर भी ये abatement का functioning, abatement का जो section है that is applicable. Clear everybody? Abatement is available if the goods are damaged. मैंने क्या किया, ये पोर्ट में जब goods आया, I transferred this goods to the warehouse because I did not clear for home consumption because I did not had the money to pay the import duty. What I did is I shifted those goods to the warehouse. Now in the warehouse before clearance for home consumption, if the goods are damaged, it is whose responsibility? It is the responsibility of the warehouse owner. Now where is the warehouse located? In the custom itself. So abatement of goods is available if the goods are damaged at the warehouse and before clearance for home consumption, then the abatement is available. But same concept if it is deteriorated and you have sent for warehousing, but still you know the shelf life of that goods is say 7 days and you have not cleared those goods till the 7 days, you cannot avail the abatement, stating that the value is deteriorated because it is your responsibility to get the goods released for the home consumption by making the payment of appropriate taxes either from the warehouse or from the customs port. Obviously clear to everybody? Clear? So now if we talking about this abatement, so पहले जो हमने बात किया it was all about remission. Under remission what used to happen was कि जो भी उसका वैल्यू होगा उसमें हम जीरो वैल्यू एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं and we are asking for the complete zero outflow of the duty. Clear everybody? So now but here section 22 speaks about the abatement. अबेटमेंट का मतलब क्या हो रहा है? मैं कोई चीज का रिडक्शन मांग रहा हूँ, करेक्ट? अब ये रिडक्शन जब मैं मांग रहा हूँ तो क्या वैल्यू से क्या वैल्यू का रिडक्शन मांग रहा हूँ, दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव टू शो द कैलकुलेशन, राइट? व्हाई? बिकॉज द बर्डन ऑफ प्रूफ इज ऑन whom? द बर्डन ऑफ प्रूफ इज ऑन द person or the importer who is claiming the abatement. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now what is the concept here we want to understand further is कि जो रिडक्शन कर रहे हैं ये रिडक्शन कैसे होने वाला है, ये रिडक्शन का कैलकुलेशन कैसे होने वाला है, दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड नाउ एज फार एज दिस अबेटमेंट अंडर सेक्शन 22 इज कंसर्न. सो लेट अस गो एंड डिग डाउन इन डिटेल कि वैल्यू ऑफ डैमेज्ड गुड्स या डिटीरियोरेटेड गुड्स कैसे निकलेगा एंड हाउ डू वी असर्टेन दैट वैल्यू और उस पर क्या ड्यूटी लगने वाला है, इज दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड राइट नाउ. क्लियर एवरीवन? सो लेट अस जस्ट क्विकली स्टार्ट दिस नाउ. वैल्यू ऑफ डैमेज्ड गुड्स, क्योंकि हमको ये तो मालूम है कि कोई ना कोई तो वैल्यू आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा उस पर ड्यूटी लगाने के लिए. सो वैल्यू ऑफ डैमेज्ड गुड्स और डिटीरियोरेटेड गुड्स इज इक्वल्स टू वैल्यू असर्टेड बाय द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर और ग्रॉस सेल प्रोसीड्स गुड्स सोल्ड बाय ऑक्शन और टेंडर. सो उसका वैल्यू कैसे निकलने वाला है? वैल्यू निकलने के लिए दो ऑप्शन है, राइट? ये जो गुड्स है जिसको हम क्लेम कर रहे हैं कि आइदर ये डैमेज हो गया है या फिर ये डिटीरियोरेट हो गया, राइट? अगर ये चीज डैमेज हो गया है एंड दिस डैमेज has happened before unloading, if this damage has happened before unloading, one second, if this damage has happened before unloading, if this damage has happened before unloading, तो यहाँ पे जो है इंपोर्टर के पास कोई भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, ही हैज नो कंट्रोल एंड हेंस ही कैन क्लेम बोथ abatement, he can claim abatement for this particular transaction. Clear? Now as far as deteriorated is concerned, it has not reached the port or it is just getting unloaded and the goods are got deteriorated, then also abatement is possible. Why? Because there is no responsibility of the importer per se. Now if this is a situation, that means I can avail the benefit of abatement, right? अब ये कितना वैल्यू से डिटीरिएट हो गया है या कितने वैल्यू से डैमेज हो गया, वो कैसे आइडेंटिफाई होगा, इज व्हाट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो कस्टम ड्यूटी इज पेएबल ऑन द डैमेज्ड गुड्स और डिटीरिएटेड गुड्स, राइट? तो जो भी इसका ड्यूटी जो डैमेज हुआ है या डिटीरिएट हुआ है उस पर मुझे ड्यूटी तो पे करना पड़ेगा. बट व्हाट आई एम आस्किंग फॉर द आस्किंग इज बेसिकली एन अबेटमेंट. व्हेन आई एम आस्किंग फॉर एन अबेटमेंट, आई एम आस्किंग फॉर रिडक्शन इन द कस्टम्स ड्यूटी. सो कस्टम ड्यूटी ऑन डैमेज्ड और डिटीरिएटेड गुड्स is equals to customs duty before adjust damaged and deteriorated into value of damaged or deteriorated goods upon value of goods before or value of goods before damaged or deteriorated. Correct? So what is the value of damaged goods? Value of damaged or deteriorated goods कैसे आइडेंटिफाई होगा? There's two option which has been given to the owner. He can choose from any of the two option, right? So owner has the option two options. First option is custom. First option is what? That the value of the damaged goods. Sorry, it got deleted. Value of damaged or deteriorated goods. How it is identified? There are two options, right? So one option is value is ascertained by the proper officer. तो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर बोलेगा कि जो एक्चुअल वैल्यू इस गुड्स का था 10 लाख रुपीस था, बट इसको खराब हो गया है, सो आई एम गिविंग इट अ वैल्यूएशन ऑफ से 8 लाख रुपीस. करेक्ट एवरीबडी? सिमिलरली सेकंड ऑप्शन विच इज अवेलेबल टू द ओनर इज दैट द ग्रॉस सेल्स प्रोसीड, राइट? बेसिकली द ओनर सेज इसको आप ऑक्शन में डाल दो और उसका जो भी ग्रॉस सेल प्रोसीड आएगा दैट आई विल कंसीडर एज अ वैल्यू एंड ऑन दैट वैल्यू आई एम रेडी टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ import duty. Correct? So now if we see this original value is 10 lakh rupees and the value as per proper officer is 8 lakh rupees and the value the gross sale proceed is say 7 lakh rupees is what the 7 lakh rupees is what is received at the time of auction. So what will I take as an importer as value is 7 lakh rupees, right, and not 8 lakh rupees. Why? Because if I take value 8 lakh rupees I have to make the extra payment of import, right? So how it is calculated? If suppose on this 10 lakh rupees item 1 lakh is the import duty. Correct everybody? Now this value which you have seen was say 7 lakh rupees. Correct? So now the value as per the goods sold in the auction is say 7 lakh rupees. तो मैं इसका वैल्यू कैसे निकालने वाला हूँ? तो the custom duty on damaged or deteriorated goods is equals to custom duty before damaged or deteriorated. Before damaged or deteriorated custom duty कितना था? 1 lakh rupees. Right? This I will multiply by what? This is basically for what amount? That is for 10 lakh rupees of amount. But now this is for 10 lakh rupees of amount. But now the value of the goods is expected is 7 lakh rupees. So hence this is going to be the value. This is the calculation which will be calculated to identify the actual value of the damaged or deteriorated goods, and that is the amount which will claim as reduction. Say suppose this is coming to say 10,000 rupees. So what will say to the department is that this is the value of the basically leftover of this goods which is imported, that is after damage or deterioration. So initially I was supposed to pay 1 lakh rupees, but now as the value of the custom duty on the value of the goods which is damaged or deteriorated is 10,000 rupees. So I am going to make the payment of 90,000 rupees as the custom duty, and you can allow me this payment itself. Clear everybody? So यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहे हैं? सिंपल है कि I am asking for the reduction in the value of the custom duty, right? So abatement I can ask under two situation, either before or during the unloading or after the unloading. अगर before or during the unloading है तो importer को responsibility नहीं है. So either the goods are damaged or the goods are deteriorated, it is not his responsibility, so abatement is available. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now after unloading हो गया, right? After unloading हो गया, but if इट इज डिटीरियोटेड गुड्स, राइट? डिटीरियोटेड गुड्स है अगर, तो डिटीरियोटेड गुड्स का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसका है? इंपोर्टर का है कि भाई फटाफट आके इंपोर्ट कर ले. इफ इट इज एन डिटीरियोटेड गुड्स देन अबेटमेंट बिकम्स अनअवेलेबल, बट इफ इट इज एन if it is a damaged goods, वो goods पे कुछ scratch आ गया है, goods पे कुछ dents आ गए हैं, then the abatement is available. Now similarly, once the goods are loaded into the customs port, I have two options. I have already explained you. One, I can clear for home consumption, and one I can clear for the warehousing. If I clear the goods to the warehousing, that means I do not have money to make the payment for import duty, and hence I am keeping the goods at the warehouse. Now at the warehouse, if the goods gets damaged or deteriorated, so if it gets damaged, then the abatement is available because ये damage है, deterioration नहीं है. Now but if the goods are deteriorated, you know कि ये goods का जो life है इसका खत्म होने वाला है, ये goods deteriorate हो रहा है, then it is the responsibility of the importer to get that goods released. If he is not getting that goods released, then he cannot avail the abatement and he will have to make the full payment of import duty. I hope this is clear to everybody. How do you calculate the value of damaged goods? वैल्यू ऑफ डैमेज गुड्स कैसे निकालना पड़ेगा आपको? वैल्यू असर्टेन बाय द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर, राइट. फर्स्ट ऑप्शन की प्रॉपर ऑफिसर बोल रहा है आपको कि ये पर्टिकुलर जो आपका गुड्स है जो आप क्लेम कर रहे हो कि इट इज अ डैमेज और डिटीरियोरेटेड गुड्स, एज पर मी द वैल्यूएशन इज बेसिकली से 7 लाख रुपीज. जो आपने इनवॉइस आया है उसके ऊपर 10 लाख रुपीज है, करेक्ट. सो व्हाट विल यू अज्यूम, जो भी कस्टम ऑफिसर देगा 7 लाख रुपीज इज द वैल्यू, राइट. Says the first option. Or you tell the proper officer कि boss, you either auction these goods and whatever the sale proceed of that auction is what the value of my goods. So suppose sale proceed is 5 lakh rupees, right? So will you accept 10 lakh or 5 lakh? It is very sure that you will accept 5 lakh rupees, right? So what is happening here is that the value of damaged goods is how we have identified here, and that value of damaged goods will reduce from the main valuation, and on the balance only I am going to make the payment of the duty. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now let us move further and understand the other provision as far as the charging section is concerned. As far the reading the charging sections, subjective restriction of the charging section, which is speaking about lot of other sections to evaluate. Clear everybody? So till now what we have seen is basically, one second, let me just fold everything. Now till now what we have seen is कि ये रेमिशन अबेटमेंट कब मिलेगा. रेमिशन मतलब क्या होगा, मेरा जीरो आउटफ्लो हो गया. तो न्यू ड्यूटीज लाइबिलिटी इफ द गुड्स आर पिल्फर्ड, वी नो दिस. नो ड्यूटी लाइबिलिटी और द रेमिशन ऑफ ड्यूटी, आई एम आस्किंग द डिपार्टमेंट इफ आई फील दैट द गुड्स आर लॉस्ट और डैमेज्ड and its burden to prove is on my shoulder, that I will have to prove these goods are actually lost or destroyed. Then we have seen remission of duty on abandoned goods. कोई भी goods को मैं abandon करता हूँ, क्यों abandon करता हूँ, it becomes useless, and hence I am abandoning the ownership of that goods, and hence I will be free from making the payment of that particular remission of duty is available on that particular abandoned goods. Then we went on and saw section number 22, which talks about the abatement. Abatement means reduction. Abatement means reduction, right? Then we saw section 22, which talks about abatement, reduction of goods which are damaged or deteriorated, that we have seen. Then section 24 is the power to make rules for denaturing or mutilation of goods. Now what do you mean by denaturing and mutilation of goods is what we have to understand here. So just give me a break of 1 minute. Let's have water. You guys also can have water right now. Correct. So now welcome back. I hope you also have the water. So section 24 speaks about power to make rules for denaturing or mutilation of goods. Very interesting. Everybody will enjoy this. Let us go and understand in detail this particular provision. So concentrate here. Now there are few smart importers, right? What they want to do is that they know that I am going to import say alcohol. Once again, that I am going to import say alcohol. This alcohol has two specific usage. One is human consumption and one is for industrial purpose. So when I see this in the rate chart under the Customs Tariff Act, it states that if I am importing this alcohol for human consumption, I will have to make the payment of 30% of the import duty. The rate of duty is 30%. But if the same alcohol is imported for industrial purpose, then I will am liable to make the payment of 10% only. So there are smart importers, what they say, that we will declare that this alcohol is used for industrial purpose. But the government is not dumb. They have given the power under section 24 to make rules for denaturing of this good. So what does the department say? Okay, you want to make the payment at 10%? Okay, no problem. You make the payment of 10%, but there is one condition from my side, that I will denature this alcohol what you are importing. Whatever alcohol you are importing, I need to denature it. उसका जो नेचर है, उसका जो स्पेसिफिकेशंस है, उसके जो क्वालिटीज है, उसको डीनेचर करूंगा, सो दैट इट कैन बी यूज्ड ओनली एंड ओनली फॉर इंडस्ट्रियल पर्पस, एंड देन ओनली यू कैन टेक दिस आउट फॉर होम कंजम्पशन एट द पेमेंट ऑफ 10% ऑफ द इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी. दिस इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डीनेचर. दैट मीन द नेचर जो है उसको मैं कम कर दूंगा, उसको डीनेचर कर दूंगा. एंड इफ द डीनेचर्ड क्वांटिटी रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी इज लेस, देन यू कैन मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ द डीनेचर्ड पर्पस, बिकॉज वंस द अल्कोहल इज डीनेचर्ड इट इज नॉट वायबल फॉर ह्यूमन कंजम्पशन, और जब ह्यूमन कंजम्पशन नहीं पेगा वो मर जाएगा. करेक्ट. सो दैट मीन्स द डिपार्टमेंट हैव गिवन द पावर to denature the goods, right? If there is any dispute of any smart people who are importing the goods. Similarly, you have one more smart client who is an industrialist. He says कि sir, I want to import a machinery, but अगर मैं इस machinery को import करता हूँ, showing it as machinery, I will have to make the payment of 50% as import duty. And if in the other side, if I import these goods, showing it as scrap or second-hand goods, then I can take this custom duty at say 10%. So why should I pay 40% extra? We can show it that it is an import of the scrap, right? But then when it comes as an import, then what happens is it's a huge machinery which is going to be set up, right? So the department is not that fool. So what does the department is given the power, that it can break down the machinery into pieces, that can mutilate, उसको brutally mutilate कर देगा, तोड़ देगा, and then they can avail the benefit of mutilation. Then they can say that the importer can pay import duty at the less percentage, less rate of duty, because these goods are mutilated. Clear everybody? Very important. So if imported goods may be used for more than one purpose, right? When we saw about example of alcohol, this was used for more than one purpose. If these imported goods are used for more than one purpose, they can be mutilated or they can be denatured by the customs, right? Post denaturing or mutilation, after the denaturing or mutilation has happened, duty at the rate applicable to such goods in denatured or mutilated form will be applicable. Example, alcohol for human consumption as well as industrial purpose is an example here. Clear everybody? So section 24 is clear to everybody. I hope it's clear to everybody. Now let us go and understand section number 25, which grants certain power to the department to make certain goods are exempted goods. Clear? Now till now what we have seen is remission. रेमिशन मीन्स मेरा आउटफ्लो जीरो है इंपोर्टर का, तो कब होगा? जब वो गुड्स पिल्फर्ड होगा, मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है. सेक्शन 13 सेज नो ड्यूटी लायबिलिटी इफ द गुड्स आर पिल्फर्ड. सेक्शन 23(1) आई एम आस्किंग फॉर रेमिशन. व्हेन आई एम आस्किंग फॉर रेमिशन, कैंसिलेशन ऑफ ड्यूटी, इट इज इंपोर्टर्स ड्यूटी टू शोकेस और टू प्रूव, और द बर्डन ऑफ प्रूफ इज ऑन द इंपोर्टर so that he can convince the SEDC, and once the SEDC is convinced that these goods are lost or destroyed, then only he can grant the remission to the importer. Third remission or zero payment of tax duty, what we have seen is remission of duty on the abandoned goods. If I am abandoning any goods for taking the rights or title of those goods, I am abandoning that thing, then there is a remission, cancellation of duty itself. Now then we saw section number 22. Section number 22 spoke about abatement. When we heard the word abatement, it means reduction of the duty. Now when asking for reduction in duty, it is my responsibility to show that the value of the actual good which is imported has been damaged or deteriorated as of now, and hence I am asking for the abatement. So when we have read the abatement, we have seen that abatement is for what? Two situations, either before or during the unloading, or after the unloading, or warehoused goods, right? The third situation is warehouse good before clearance for home consumption. So if the goods are basically under the control of the control of the customs, and it is basically the goods are damaged or deteriorated, तो क्या मैं उस पर abatement ले पाऊंगा या नहीं? क्या मैं उस पर discount ले पाऊंगा या नहीं? क्या मैं उस पर रिडक्शन ले पाऊंगा या नहीं? इज व्हाट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो हियर वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डैमेज एंड डिटीरियोरेटेड, व्हिच आई हैव टोल्ड यू. इफ दिस गुड्स दिस इज द गुड व्हिच इज इंपोर्टेड, और इसके अंदर कोई स्क्रैच लग गया, कोई डेंट आ गया, इट इज कॉल्ड एज डैमेज गुड्स. नाउ इफ आई एम इंपोर्टेड एन exotic fruits and vegetables, and if I am not taking it for home consumption, then these goods are going to get deteriorated. That is called as the concept of deterioration, where the shelf life is less, right? So Then we understood the concept of section 22, abatement of goods, abatement of goods which are damaged or deteriorated. And under this, we saw that if it is happening before or during the unloading, it is the responsibility of the customs department. So abatement is available if the goods are damaged or deteriorated. After unloading, if this has happened, abatement is unavailable as far as deteriorated goods is concerned. Why unavailable? अगर आपको पता है कि goods का shelf life कम है, तो आपका responsibility है pay the money and take the goods for the home clearance, correct? So after unloading, if the goods are deteriorated in value, then no abatement is available. But if the goods are damaged, then abatement is available. Warehouse goods before clearance for home consumption, that means the goods are lying in the warehouse before clearance for home consumption. Then what is the situation? Abatement is available if the goods are damaged. Abatement is unavailable if the goods are डिटीरियोटेड. वेरी सिंपल अंडरस्टैंडिंग. डिटीरियोटेड मतलब उसका जो वैल्यू है वो मेरा कम हो गया, और डैमेज का मतलब क्या हो गया कि उसका वो डैमेजेस फिजिकल डैमेजेस इन जनरल. क्लियर. देन वी सॉ दैट जो डिडक्शन में मांग रहा हूँ क्या बेसिस पे मांग रहा हूँ, राइट? तो मेरा जो भी लाइबिलिटी आ रहा है पेमेंट करने का, सपोज द लाइबिलिटी ऑफ पेमेंट इन एक्चुअल सिनेरियो इज से 1 लाख रुपीज, right? But due to some goods which are which are damaged or deteriorated, the value of these goods have become, say, value of the duty has become 90,000 rupees, correct? So I basically is going to save 10 grams of rupees as far as the valuation is concerned, right? So अभी इसका जो value है deteriorated goods का, ये 90,000 कैसे आया? So value of damaged or deteriorated goods is equals to value ascertained by the proper officer or the gross sale proceeds, right? The value ascertained by the proper officer or the gross sale proceeds, goods sold on auction, goods sold by auction or tender. Yeah? And this whether to take out of this value, which value is at the option of the owner. Which are the two values? First, ascertained by the proper officer or the gross sale proceeds received by the authorization or by the auction or tender. Clear everybody? How is it clear to everybody? Now, if that is what we have understood. Now we move on to understand section number 24, power to make rules for denaturing or mutilation of goods. That also we saw कि अगर कोई similar goods हैं which are being brought, or if there is one only good which has more than one usages, then the department has the power to denature those particular goods, and they can also mutilate those goods, break down into pieces of those goods, right? Then we are saying that exemption, that is power to grant exemptions from the duty. Section number 25, it grants it gives the central government power to grant certain exemptions from duty. So till now what we are trying to understand is we are linking with the charging section, which says that subject to other section. What are the other sections is what we are trying to evaluate here. So what are the other sections we have seen? In the other section there can be two situations where the outflow of the customs is 0, or where I am asking the reduction in the value of the custom, right? So if the outflow of the value is 0 is one chapter, and if there is a reduction in the value, how we are going to do that is the another concept. Clear? Now this is going to affect the value, this is going to affect the charging section. Now charging section also says that subject to other sections of this act. So there is section 25 which gives power to grant exemption from the duty, right? The central government is given certain power to grant exemptions from duty. So what are those powers? Let us understand those powers first. So what are those powers? One second. What are those powers? 25(1), central government in public interest may by notification, very simple, central government in public interest may by notification in the official gazette exempt goods from custom duty. Very simple, no second thoughts in it. अगर कोई goods हैं जिस पे custom duty हटाना है, then the central government in public interest may by notification exempt these goods from the customs duty. Similarly, section 25 subsection 2, central government in public interest may by special order in each case exempt goods from custom duty. So first scenario was in public interest by notification in the official gazette, right? Second scenario is also in public interest but by the special order in each case exempt goods from the custom duty. So it's a case to case situation where a special order will be issued for that particular transaction itself. Suppose when Ferrari was imported by Sachin Tendulkar being a public figure, he was given the special order in where he could import the goods without paying the customs duty. right? Section 25(1) we have seen that central government in public interest may by notification in the official gazette exempt goods from the custom duty. Section 25(2) central government in public interest by a special order in each case exempt goods from custom duty. Then section 25 subsection 2 capital A, an explanation inserted within 1 year will have a retrospective effect, correct? So what is this 25(2)(a) states is, let me show you this with an example here. So what does it states is that ki suppose this is the timeline, this is the period of 1 year, some exemption notification came today. Now this 1 year has now lapsed and certain clarification has been issued, certain explanation has been inserted by the department, right? What does this explanation gives is basically helps in clarifying the problems which are coming into the people's regular routine of this particular GST. Now, so this, if explanation is inserted within this 1 year, then it is assumed that this explanation was inserted at the first time itself, right? So an explanation inserted within 1 year will have a retrospective effect. तो जब से फर्स्ट टाइम एप्लीकेबल होने वाला है तब से उसका रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव इफेक्ट आपको लगने वाला है. सेक्शन 25 सबसेक्शन 4 नॉटविथस्टैंडिंग अंडर सेक्शन 1 और 2A, नॉटविथस्टैंडिंग एनीथिंग अंडर सेक्शन 1 or under 2A shall take effect on the date of issue by the central government for publication in the official gazette, right? So what is the date to be followed is basically shall take the effective date on the date of issue by the central government for publication in the official gazette, correct? So unless and until it is published, you do not calculate in that particular manner. Section 25 subsection 6 speaks about no exemption from zero exemption from duty if the amount of duty is equal to less than ₹100, right? So no exemption from duty basically is given that if there is no if the goods are imported and these goods are basically the duty on these goods are less than ₹100, then no import duty is liable. This rule is not applicable in case of special offers orders under subsection 22. This rule is not applicable in case of special orders. जो मैं special order यहाँ पे निकाल रहा हूँ, this rule is not applicable in case of special orders and issued under the sub transaction 2. Clear everybody? आई होप इज क्लियर टू एवरीबॉडी. सो हमने ये भी समझ लिया कि गवर्नमेंट का इसका पावर है कि ड्यूटी लेवी करेगा. गवर्नमेंट हैज द पावर टू लेवी ड्यूटी इन द पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट बाय वे ऑफ नोटिफिकेशन इन द ऑफिशियल गैजेट of goods from the customs duty. The central government in public interest may by special order in each such cases exempt from customs duty. An explanation inserted within 1 year will have a retrospective effect. After 1 year will not have a retrospective effect but will be applicable from the day when it is installed, right? So notification number 1 and 2A shall take effect on the date of issue by central government and for publication in the official gazette, right? So if I'm getting some notification, if it is a special notification, the dates will be mentioned here that this particular notification is applicable from this date. If it is basically not a notes document, if it is not a note one, then there will be basically given as a notification. This notification will go to the department for publication. But if I can write my name over here and if I can write the date of today's this thing, then I can basically do it today itself, right? So that is what is there as far as the publication is concerned, right? So in case of special order, the date will be mentioned here, but in case of general order, the notification will be issued by the department and it will go to the gazette officer. So but here what it states is that notification number 1, that is one about the central government in public interest may by notification in the official gazette exempt goods from the custom duty. Second is 1 and 2A basically speaks about insert explanation which has been inserted, right? So if basically notification number 1 or notification 2A shall take effect on the date of issue of the central government, issue by the central government फॉर पब्लिकेशन इन द ऑफिशियल गैजेट. जिस दिन पे ये सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को शैल टेक इनटू इफेक्ट, ये कब से एप्लीकेबल होगा? ऑन द डेट ऑफ इश्यू, जिस दिन मैंने ये इश्यू कर दिया है मेरे गैजेट ऑफिसर को. अब वो 4 दिन बाद निकाले, 5 दिन बाद निकाले, दैट इज नॉट माय कंसर्न. इफ दिस इश्यू basically shall take effect on the date of issue by central government for publication in the official gazette. Clear everyone? Now 25.6, zero exemption from duty if the amount is less than rupees 100. Clear everybody? This rule is not applicable in case of special offers under subsection 2. If there is any special offer going on, that is any birthday offer, any other this thing is going on, this rule is not applicable in case of special orders issued under subsection 2. Clear everybody? I hope this is clear everybody, that what are the other restrictions which are applicable as far as we want to identify the levy of the customs duty, correct? So what are the various sections which we have seen? Let us just quickly recap the sections once again. Basically, we have seen 6 sections. One was section 13, no duty liability if goods are pilfered. Section 23(1), remission of duty on goods lost or destroyed. Section 23(2), remission of the duty on abandoned goods. Section 22, abatement of goods which are damaged or deteriorated. Then we have read about section number 24, that is section number 24 is power to make rules for denaturing or mutilation of goods. किसको denaturate करना है, किसको mutilate करना है, the department has the power to do that. And section 25 speaks about power to grant exemptions from the duty, power to grant exemptions from the duty itself, right? So section 25 will give the power to grant exemptions from duty itself. Clear everybody? So now let us move back to understand more in detail. One second. Clear everybody? So what we have covered till now is very simple. We have just covered till now the introduction aspect, various laws aspect, charging section we have done partially, and we have tried to cover the remission, abatement and exemption from duty. Now in the next chapter, in the next video, we will be understanding the concept of India. We will be understanding the concept of import and export. So once we mix up these concept of India, import and export, then we will understand how the GST will flow, what is classified as import, what is classified as export, then whatever I am importing or exporting, if I am resending it to the other country or if I am receiving back from the other country, will customs will be leviable or not, is what we have to understand in the next session, right? So today just revise of all this section and you will see that you remember all this section in your mind map. So please take charge of yourself, please be responsible and take care of yourself and do not panic. You learn the subjects very well and use your common sense in whatever you are doing. It's a request. Common sense is uncommon. I once again repeat, common sense is uncommon. So don't be uncommon, be common and use your common sense. And if you will start using your common sense, you're going to enjoy this subject and you will love this subject. Clear? So in the next session, we'll be going more in detail and then we'll see that how this is going to shape up in your career as a professional person. Thank you very much, guys.